All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host, Harris, a.k.a. Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations. And I'm here with my, high blood pressure co-host.
Well, that's because you make me drive 394 at 5 o'clock to get over here. I have to come right down the belly of the beast, and it's absolutely horrific. As a guy who likes speed, traffic is not my friend.
No, you're horrible in traffic. We saw you in Chicago. Isn't that a pretty thing? So why don't you go ahead, Dan, the man of many Mustangs, the co-host, why don't you introduce the old podcast?
This is the Monoxide Podcast, where we take our locals, I was corrected last time, globally. We find these people, and we go beyond the meat and just get to know everybody a little bit better. Just basically people from the automotive industry.
Sweet. And rocked it. I love it. Yeah. I had to correct him last time. I was like, no, we ain't local. What you talking about? As you guys can tell by my camera, if you're watching, we can't see Dan as well because we actually have 4 people crammed into this little room for the first time ever. So without further ado, I want to introduce these guys. I met you guys, funny enough, years ago, and then I forgot about your existence for some time.
That's all right. That's the first time I've heard it.
Which we can get into that story. That's a funny story, too. But you guys reached out to me a few months ago, again, under the banner that you guys are currently under. We started talking a little bit more. So you guys are the City Wide PPF guys. I didn't screw up the name, right?
No.
Okay.
No, you did great.
Because I usually say things with such confidence, I forget to check it sometimes. But nonetheless, we've been kind of hanging out for a number of months now. You guys have a really awesome product line you just dropped for the detailing world. And I honestly, I want to talk a lot about that because even hanging out in your little, warehouse shop, I don't know what to call it, Amazon back tool shed, I don't know.
Yeah. Call it a studio, it sounds better.
I mean, hey, it looks like the casting couch in here, so I know all about studios. So many things to talk about. You guys crush it in detailing space. So now that I'm done buttering your asses, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? I'll start with you, Braxton.
All right. Yeah, I'm Braxton. We've been detailing here together for coming on, what is it?
6 years.
Yeah. So we're kind of a duo, but been detailing for myself 10 years, a little more than that probably. Thank you. There it is. I needed it. So yeah, I guess that's all I got. That's all I got for the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. And how about you, David?
Yeah. No, I mean, we've been detailing together. We started at a little shop in New Hope, and from there we moved off to Maury's, and they kept pushing us to just do more and more production, and which is fine with making money, but at the end of the day, when you're working on cars of said caliber with their luxury store, you can't just rush them out. You really need to take your time. So we kind of took that opportunity and saw a space come available, and we were like, let's do it. I mean, because once we have kids or something like that,
it's game over.
It's game over.
You can't just take a leap then.
Yep. Real quick, before we get too deep, I'm going to have you pull your mic just a little bit closer there. I should have done a better job on that front. But anywho, I mean, some people make it with kids. Some people make it with 4. You're doing all right over there.
Yeah, it has its moments, but yeah.
Yeah, so remind me again. So how old are you, each of you?
I'm 26.
I'm 27.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys are just a handful of years older than me. And honestly, you guys have had a tremendous amount of success so far. So if we go back to when I first met you.
Yeah.
It was so funny. So I came to visit you guys at your shop a few weeks ago. Well, probably a couple months ago now.
Yeah, I would say a couple months ago when you came by with Sean.
Yeah, because you guys reached out we had Sean's BMW 1M PPF, which, by the way, he was just in town on Monday, and he's loving it. I don't think he's had a PPF that good. So because
that's awesome.
That's the thing with PPF and even vinyl wraps and all that stuff. You kind of expect failure almost immediately.
You have to prepare yourself for the worst and hope for the best.
Right.
Unfortunately.
I'd love to hear some of your stories in that regard because I feel like every shop handles it differently because it's not when it fails, or it's not if it fails, it's when it fails. Mm-hmm. And so far, so good. So, so anyways, I came by, I popped in, and I kept looking at Braxton. I was like, what the fuck? I feel like I know this fucking guy. I was like, you look familiar. I'm like, I and then we started to talk about maybe we met on a rally or whatever. And funny enough, these guys were the detailers for Venom Rally back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I fact checked myself. It was Stance Out Rally. It was before Venom.
Way back.
Wait, were you a participant on that, or were you detailing?
I detailed the cars before you guys put vinyl on them. Doug was putting vinyl on them, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And I did come. I had a blast. It was fun. It was
what car did you have back then?
I had a Elantra GT Sport, little 6-speed, 1.6 turbo.
What color was it?
Black.
I feel like I'm going back to it. Were you? Did you guys come together? I can't remember if you did.
No,
I didn't go because I was. Gosh, that was when I was working at Maury's?
And maybe I wasn't or something. I don't know.
Oh, I'm trying to think because I think that was when we were with Jesse with Metro Brothers, and then I started to pick up PPF, and they had me working until 9-10 o'clock every night.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Yep. I was hoping I actually remember. I was hoping you were going to be my co-driver, and I was going to have Mandy in the back seat. But
yeah. It's fun.
That's right. Yeah, I remember going back. Yeah. Because you guys we had your stickers on the cars too back then. I think, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Okay, but yeah, nonetheless, I was like, man, I fucking know this guy from somewhere. And then it kind of all just clicked. Like, sometime, back in the day. And the reason I didn't really remember you is because, again, you guys mostly talked with, like, Doug back then. And even then, that Stance Out was 5 years ago.
That was a long time ago already.
That is crazy. That was we've talked about it on the podcast before. That was my first ever rally. It was a shitty little 2-day rally down to a middle of nowhere
in Iowa. It was a blast.
8th mile drag strip. Dude,
we had a long time at the strip, though. I think that's what made it so good. We were like, screw it.
Which is wild, because we had a full day rental. We left like 4 hours early.
Really? Did we? Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, we had 11 cars. Like, how many times can you do the same run?
Yeah. My Elantra was definitely getting tired.
And only like 6 people, like, were, doing it, because everybody else is like, I don't want to screw up my car. It's like, dude, you're hitting like 80 miles an hour at most on a 8th mile strip. So, but yeah, nonetheless, I was like, oh my god, I freaking know these guys. And then I came back up. I can't remember what I came back up for. But nonetheless, I wanted to check out, I don't know, I came up for something else.
It wasn't to wash your car.
No, yeah. No. My car's been washed exactly once this season.
I'm begging you, please. Seriously.
No, I'm basically trying to build up some grime, make it a project for you guys.
All right.
Some good marketing material.
Good. Yeah.
Well, have you ever seen like those like TikTok videos where they like, for example, they'll take like a black carpet, right? And then they'll like wash, scrub, and wash like 6 more times. Like it has like growing moss and everything on there, like those videos. And you're like, oh my god, it's like actually like a white carpet underneath. That's what I'm trying to do for you guys. It's basically
you're bringing me back. I mean, honestly, we haven't done anything like that in a little while. Did you guys not
go down this rabbit hole with the carpet guy?
The carpet guy?
I don't know what the hell his name was on TikTok, but like somebody out there has to have seen this. It was one.
I don't know.
I've seen a lot of videos like that. Where,
so many disaster detailers now.
It looks
There's
like
a guy who mows people's lawns, and I don't care about it, but I cannot. Mowing. Yeah, right. I cannot not watch it. I'm like, all right, cool. I got to see this yard get cleaned up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like that one video that was like super petty. Like one guy has like a totally overgrown lawn. This other guy just has a perfectly neatly manicured lawn. And it's like a foot of grass. It's like, dude, you could have just done the neighbors too.
Yeah. The strip between the driveways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he like paints his and the other one's yellow.
Dude, it's wild. Like down in the South, like people regularly paint their yards. Like what? That cannot be good for the environment, dude.
You would think not.
I have no idea.
Directly into the soil.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in lawn care, so my dad had a company for 35 years, and yeah, I mean, you never see anything like that up here. Whereas, like when we went to Vegas for SEMA, and we were driving around, and I'm always looking at grass, and I'm like, "There's no grass out here." I was like, "This is just," I mean, obviously it's desert, but yeah, it felt really, really weird.
No, you got to be rich to have grass there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the artificial turf, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's baller.
Yeah, dude, I could never. I honestly, I would love a rock lawn, like a rock garden.
Oh yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. Like a little bonsai tree made out of.
I have 2 acres to mow, and I would be fine with no grass. That's why I'm putting up little sheds. Just keep putting sheds on the yard until I have no grass.
You don't put sheds. You put shipping containers in place of grass.
Those work cool as too. Sheds. They're like sheds that come already built. They're perfect.
Well, the China shipping containers are green.
Yeah.
So I guess.
They blend in.
But no, let's get a little bit into your history. So how did you guys, and so you guys kind of like were doing a little bit of stuff with, Metro Brothers and all that. So how did City Wide PPF eventually become your thing?
Yeah, so actually it was really, so I left Metro Brothers to kind of like pursue PPF, and then from there I'm trying to think when exactly it was. I wanted to go get Ceramic Pro certified because I was like, oh, they have the name, they have the marketing. And so I was like, let me jump on board with that. And so I had to create a LLC, and I was like, whatever, I already have City Wide PPF, Instagram page all built. And from there, we did our first Ceramic Pro job. And I was supposed to like drive all the way to California for training and stuff. Ended up not doing that. Ended up just making a stop in Colorado and
Didn't
staying
they
there for a
cancel
week.
on you?
Yeah, they canceled on me
Yeah.
because I was the only
Canceling
person.
a lot of people lately.
Really?
That's a conversation for after the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and so the name kind of stuck. We already had the Instagram page. I'm trying to think. No, I had Citywide PPF, and then we already had the Metro Brothers page.
Which had a little bit of a following.
Yeah, so I made that into the Citywide page.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just basically jumped in both feet into a 2,800 square foot space and kind of never looked back.
We had no idea we were going to do it, by the way. The space like popped up on Marketplace, and we both looked at each other, and we were like, you want to do it?
Yeah, we did not plan whatsoever. We just had a little bit in savings, and we were like, all right.
Well, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly.
You got to go back and get a job somewhere else, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a
What's the
space,
end
you
of
can
the
figure
world?
something out, right? Like starting that's not a bad place to start.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What year was this?
February of 22.
22,
So
okay.
coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
And then, but between the two of you, you both have been detailing for like a decade each, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met, when we met each other, 6 years ago or so, whatever it was at a detail shop. Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a Tinder for detailers. Right, like I need a PPF guy to help me at the shop.
Well, it's gonna be Carmunity.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting stuff. I'm excited for some of the announcements we have with Community, which again I'm not going to disclose yet, but it's super awesome. A lot of people have been joining the app lately too. I had if all goes well, I'm gonna have the Drag and Drive Addiction guys on the podcast during PRI. That's gonna be really sweet. Which, do you guys know what Drag and Drive is or not really? It's basically
afraid
like
I don't.
a rally, but for like drag cars. So you basically get your drag car, and then you get a little trailer as big as this table.
Yeah.
So all you're allowed to bring is like, I don't even know the regulations, like basic tools, wheels, whatever. And then you drive across the country with this little trailer. So your race car is what you're driving.
I've seen videos of
Yeah,
this
Yeah.
I was gonna
before.
say,
Yeah, like
we always watch that up at the
I
shop.
think Sick Week is the other big one, I think, or
Okay.
whatever. But nonetheless, so I've been talking with those guys, so we'll coordinate something there. But lots of cool stuff going down in the next few weeks. Lots of cool guests. Somebody awesome that Dan's gonna be bringing in. Dude, December's gonna be wild.
Weird to think car culture in Minnesota. December's gonna be sick. Like
That's
a
the
good
thing,
yeah.
dude. Is what I'm trying to do with this podcast is like I'm not necessarily trying to get famous people because we only have a handful of them around here. Trey being one of them downstairs with 300,000 followers. It's like wild, but. That said, it's like I'm trying to get people on with cool stories. Like I use Dan as an example. Like Gun and Garage isn't necessarily huge yet.
No, we're trying. 4 kids. Remember that conversation earlier?
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah.
Hopes and dreams,
Yeah.
none of them. But nonetheless, like Dan has a ton of cool stories.
Yeah.
Like that's why we had him on episode 39 or whatever it was. So it's like that's what I'm trying to build with this because, like, for example, like I had a highlight of Dan's pop off and it's like at 400,000 views out of nowhere, and it's like. No, people don't care about the fact that he's got 1 million followers, or whatever. They care because it's a cool story, and that's why I love doing this. So, so you guys had a little bit of, so you built up Citywide PPF. You recently expanded, so you had 2,800 square feet initially. What are you at now? You haven't got the,
Just
40
under 5,000.
Yeah, basically just under 5,000.
which is a lot. You fit how many cars in there at any given moment?
Oh boy, on average it's like 3 or 4, but we could pack 9, maybe 10 in there if we really had to.
Is it just you two?
It's
Or-
just
yeah,
us.
just you guys?
Yeah.
Though, and that's the reason too why we wanted to expand is we see a lot of shops and they're just packed in there like sardines. When you're packed in like sardines, that's when things happen. And so it's like we like to have 6 feet around cars at all times, so that way we're able to work comfortably and we're able to maneuver cars comfortably.
Yes.
Because when you're trying to just tuck things away, it's just things go awry. So.
I don't know, man. It's the year 2023. You could tuck anything away if you like.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
Well, I mean, that's why you have scheduling, right? You should be able to get cars in and out of there too, right?
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
3 or 4 at a time and then out the door. Or...
Well, you never know what's going to actually come into the door. What a customer describes and what shows up can be completely different things.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
but,
that's another
ideally.
thing is maneuverability, right? Like that's one of the things that like I went to like college for, right? You know, it's like operations, making things as lean and as efficient as possible. So yes, cramming 17 cars in there, sure, let's go for it. But what happens when you got to spend 3 hours playing musical cars?
It's
Exactly.
We spend a lot of our time playing musical cars, even still. So I can only imagine. Like,
Yeah, it's a good space. I was really happy with it. So one of the things that I was really happy with it, as if I fucking own it.
pretty happy with it.
I'm pleased. No, but I went over there. First of all, the lighting's immaculate. We got to do a photo shoot there at some point, by the way. Yeah, let me know when you have something cool in there. Or not cool. I don't know. We could shoot, you know.
We'll pull your car in.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we'll show it going from black to white. But then I started questioning. I was curious. I was like, what are those barrels over there? So you guys, again, just today, actually, and this podcast is going to drop on Monday, but you guys just launched Loonatek, which has been in the making for how long?
Since we've been in this facility, basically.
Yeah.
We've been in the works.
Solid year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of just planning from initial concept to actually communicating and doing a lot of testing back and forth. So it was about, I'd say 7 or 8 months of testing, and then finally we were like, okay, let's purchase the product. We tried the product. It's all we use in our shop, minus like prep sprays and so forth. But for basic detailing needs, that's what we do. That's the only thing that we use. Yeah, I mean, it's
So
from start to finish. It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's our dream, right, to do it. But
So tell us a little bit. So what is Loonatek then?
Yeah, so Loonatek's a little bit of a spin. So we have a shop dog. Her name's Luna. And then we have, obviously, the Minnesota Loons. So we kind of took those little concepts together and just kind of came up with Loonatek. And I don't know where we came up with the tech from. Oh, it was Loonatek.
oh yeah, Loonatek.
Yeah.
That was actually one of our first ones. Was Loonatek Car Care, but that's taken.
Yeah,
By
well,
some
I'm not sure if it's taken or if some people might just get the wrong idea with it.
Yeah.
As far as like, that doesn't kind of ring very well.
Fair enough.
So
Detailers are lunatics, though. Like, there's
I've
no
yet
way
to
around
meet a
that.
sane one.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I feel like detailing is just like one of the ultimate side hustles, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it can be.
like it's like it's a relatively low barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to meet people, build up a little bit of a client base, and then eventually you kind of get to this point where you have to make a decision. Like, do I get a day job, or do I full send it like you guys did? You get a shop, you really build a client base out. And you know, I feel like it's almost like photographers in the car community. It's like people come and go. Like every year, there's like 15 new detailers. They're taking everybody's clients, and then all of a sudden they disappear. Whether they got disappeared Chicago Mafia style or they just move on in life, whatever it is, they move on.
Oh
They
yeah.
probably buffed a car that they shouldn't have buffed, and then that's what happened to those
Hey, Johnny,
detailers.
break his legs.
Before we
I
tell
was
everybody,
gonna
just
say-
go start detailing. Let's please put the buffer down. Go ahead and clean some interiors,
Yeah.
wash some cars, and then go from there.
You got to start somewhere. Definitely
Right.
don't take on more than you can chew.
Absolutely.
It can be expensive.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, okay. Before we continue on the Loonatek route, have you had any like detailing nightmares? Like, have you like burned through any ceilings or anything? Like
Right
when you
into
first
the
started?
sauce. No ceilings. I mean, I can't think of anything that's happened in interiors. Sometimes things get wet that shouldn't get wet, but they dry out.
Yeah.
You know,
Just put it in a bag of rice and it's fine,
the
right?
whole car.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. When you're doing like disaster details in particular, like you're cleaning vents and all that sort of stuff, things get wet, and then sometimes you end up with like, an SRS light, and then you unplug the battery for a couple minutes and let it dry overnight, and the next morning it's all
Okay.
good. That sort of thing happens. But yeah,
We've had one, probably the worst detail today was a mouse vehicle. There's this guy who didn't drive this RAV4 for like 2 years. And this lady called us up and she was like, hey, I got this RAV4. It just has a little bit of paper in the back seat. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, mice, okay, do a little bit of an upcharge. So I was like, whatever, $500 for the full detail. And man, we started getting into it. And I mean, the whole rear where the spare tire is fully filled to the brim with cushion like pieces. And so there's tunnels in all the car, like below all the carpet, in the headliners, all throughout the seats. the vents. I mean, everything was just filled. And it was like dead of winter, so we were like, we don't have anything else to do, so might as well take advantage of it. But yeah, we spent 17 hours on that car, getting it to a point where it was good enough, but there's no way that we could get rid of the smell.
No.
You'd have had to replace the headliner, seats, carpet.
It would have had to all come out. Yeah, there's ones like that.
Have you ever come across like mice that are still alive?
Yeah.
I mean, in like engine bays.
Oh, okay, that's
But-
different. Yeah.
But not in the interior. We also ozoned that car for 12 hours before we even
That's
got
true.
into
They
it.
could have been alive, but they weren't. No more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do if the mice are alive?
You ozone it. I mean, theoretically, if you get a biohazard car, if you don't have an ozone machine and you're doing like cars like that with mold and rats and stuff like that, like you need an ozone machine.
No, but
For
what do you do
sure.
with the actual like mouse? Like,
Oh, you throw it away.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
if it's
I've
alive, though?
grabbed live ones out of a car before and slam them on the concrete. That's what I do with them.
Yeah, it's a brutalist
Yeah.
tactic, but yeah, I mean, you just do what you got.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have a humane way to put them to sleep.
I don't know if basically.
I'm a car collector, so there's other car collectors. The mice is like your biggest nightmare. I have 5-gallon pails filled with antifreeze, and I've got the little ramp that goes up, and it's the little. I put those 3 or 4 of those in my shop, and I'll go
Yep.
out, and there's 4 or 5 mice in them all the time.
Yeah.
Scoop them out.
This
throw 'em
time of
away.
year in particular.
Yep.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by PETA.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, don't make that one a highlight. That'll get some traction.
That's what you want,
Viral.
right? Yeah.
Not necessarily. I had one go. I put one up of. So I'm still kind of like in a backlog. So I'm putting out highlights of like when. Like Sean's last episode, and we were talking about like cop cars or whatever. And there was one particular one where Sean was just being really sarcastic. He's like, rails, ban it. Roof rack, ban them. You know, just all this stuff. And people took it literally. The onslaught in the comments was second to none.
Oh God.
Yeah, so, oops. We don't necessarily want that. I don't know.
All attention's good attention.
No, you would think so. So I've had this argument with people before. It's like, the thing is once the bad attention comes in, you've alienated an audience, and then, and to be fair, not necessarily you don't want everybody to be your audience, but the problem is, fuck, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
Just
They-
everybody being like, if you don't want everybody to be your audience.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily, but the thing is once you alienate an audience, it's a bit of a problem because it's like, yes, you get like those 4 million views right out the gate. Everybody hates you, and then it's gone. Whereas, you know, on my side of things, I'm trying to build a sustainable audience. Like, yes, it's slow, steady growth, but oh boy, it's a cult. I love it. It's amazing building the monoxide.
Getting views but not followers out of that situation, I assume.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to look
Yeah.
at
That,
it.
yeah, much better way of than my stuttering ass had to say.
That's all right.
So, what was the big thing that kind of led you to? So, what were you guys using for product before? Are you able to elaborate on that, or are we in officially like screw all products mode?
No, I think that's okay. Because I mean, no real detailer uses just an exclusive line of one thing, right? So I mean, we were talking about grills earlier. I'm name dropping companies.
Yep, go ahead.
now.
You brought it up first, so yeah.
We were using some Griot stuff, McGuire stuff, Adams stuff. I mean, G-Technic stuff, which we still carry G-Technic ceramic coatings to this day. Am I missing anything really? Roops, polishes, and compounds.
Honestly, it was more or less just like cleaners, so like Simple Green. That was a really big one for us because we don't really like to use a lot of chemicals per se.
Yeah.
With interiors.
Simple Green's super versatile and not very aggressive if you know how to use it.
Yeah, simple. I have a parts cleaner at home that's full of Simple Green. I mean,
It's good
it's
stuff.
like an all around everything.
Yep.
Yeah, you just dilute it all the way down. You're good for even delicate plastics on high-end vehicles. Whereas, yeah, I mean, there's some products that are RTU that do not exactly cooperate well with interior plastics,
Yeah.
especially exterior.
Yeah.
Like a lot of bug removers on Mercedes, Jaguar. You put that on and it instantly fogs it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just the pH is too high. It's too alkaline. I mean, acidic things will do it too. Acidic, like if you were to spray, for instance, like a water spot remover, like an acidic water spot remover on some of those plastics, it would like melt it, dog. Like
Like it
would
melts
change
it?
the
Like-
finish. Yeah, the surface of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it'll make like black look like white or whatever, stuff like that, or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a bluish milk. It's weird.
Yeah.
so. I finished junior year with a 59.6% in chemistry, honors chemistry, but 59.6%. I got bumped over to 60.2%. It's a great story. I'll tell you guys all sometime, another time. So I got a D-. Let's cover that. Can you explain pH and why it's so important when it comes to detailing your vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, you need pH, right? That's how you get things to clean. Obviously, if you're just doing like a normal wash or something like that, you want a pH neutral soap. But the lower you go, the more acidic you get, and the higher you go, the more alkaline you get. And alkalinity and acidity is what's gonna really start to like pull at things and dig at things. So when you're doing carpet, for instance, you need alkalinity, you need high pH to break up that dirt, but then you need to suck it away, because if there's still cleaner in that carpet, it'll start cleaning the bottom of your shoes, and that leads to dirty carpet, right? But I mean, yeah, I'm going in a circle here, because I was going to say that you need it. It's the process of cleaning. You need that high pH sometimes. Yeah. I mean, and there's realms to it, obviously, but I mean, you get too high and then...
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not this. It's not like the soap is what's breaking down all the dirtiness or like all the grease and whatever else is in your carpet or on the exterior of your vehicle, and then it's the water that's washing it away.
Right.
And I think it was, and actually we were just watching a video today, and that's kind of where I got it from, was from Matt from Obsessed Garage, and which, if you want to go into a wormhole of detailing, great person to watch, but kind of drive you crazy because he's worried about like literally to the smallest details with detailing. But yeah, so you're breaking what's in the carpet or what's on the surface down, and then you're removing it with water or steam.
So then when you are looking for detailing products, I mean, I'm sure it depends on what aspect of the detail you're detailing and all that, but you want a lower pH then? Like more acidic?
If, for instance, you're looking to clean wheels as easy as possible, throw some acid on it, pressure wash it, they're going to be clean. Yeah, but then
you got to do that immediately. I've seen people burn through chrome doing that, but it is great for cleaning wheels.
Yeah.
So we actually even we've actually developed a wheel acid, but we do not have any plans on releasing it in the near future.
No.
It works really well. We use it on occasion in the shop.
What I've been using it a lot for and working with it for too is, obviously we do ceramic coatings. Customers still park underneath sprinklers. People have, water spots, basically chemical or not chemical deposits.
I know what you're talking about.
Mineral deposits.
There you go.
Thank you. You need something to get that off, and the acid will pull that off. So you can use it on, for instance, if you got a ceramic coating, it's going to protect you against acid and alkaline. So you can use an acid to remove the water spots off of that without damaging the coating.
But like you were saying, that's like on a professional level.
Right.
So that's why you wouldn't want to release a product like that to the general public unless you have it pretty dumbed down or whatever. Because as soon as they start spraying it on, it's burning down to the metal, then you're going, okay, that's probably not a great idea.
So, and it's honestly a really light acid. It's like a 4 on the pH scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really not that aggressive. I mean, you can get into like professional wheel cleaners, like they're 1.5, 2, and they're so aggressive. I mean, it's seriously spray it on, spray it off. Ours, you let it sit for about 30 seconds, you rinse it off, and I mean, it breaks down stuff really nicely. Obviously, you want to stay away from glass and kind of just more sensitive plastics. But yeah, as far as paint, I mean, it's panel by panel if we are doing a water spot treatment. And if they are really deep, then we'll go through it. We'll actually just do a paint correction instead, just after we do that process. Yeah. We actually did a full correction on a Grand National, and
oh man,
it's honestly such a sad story. So he brought it to us, and we did a full correction, did a ceramic coating on it, and he didn't want to go for a really nice ceramic coating. He just went for more of a temporary, because it's just a show car. And
he really wanted a wax, but we were like, wax is dead.
Yeah. And so we finished everything in the spring. He brought it to, actually this year, back to the 80s. And he brought it home, parked it outside in his driveway. Sprinkler was on it for like a week. And the pictures, and he finally brought it into us. And the water spots were the worst that we've ever seen. It was single stage.
Right.
And it fully etched into the paint. I mean, there was no bringing this thing back.
GM paint. and black, which is like the hardest one to keep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
GM black. I've heard about that from so many people.
It's a nightmare paint.
Yeah.
The paint system is horrible. Aside from, it's not as bad as the new GR Corolla. That black is the worst paint.
Yeah,
Really?
I
To
think
work
so. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. I don't know why they used a different paint system for that car than any other car that Toyota makes, but it is like the softest, most impossible to finish, impossible to coat without marring it. I mean, we use like Rag Company Eagle 350s, not necessarily the best towel in the world, but overall recognized as a safe towel to use on pretty much any surface, brand new, right? And it will leave marring on a Toyota, the GR Corolla's paint. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, we went in circles for hours and hours and hours trying to figure it out. I mean, even our applicator pads that we normally use, they're fine with most paint. I mean, even, GM's black. You're totally good to use it on that. They had the GR Corolla. We had to take an Eagle 350 and like actually wrap it. And then even then it's still marred. And we're just like, what's going on? Brand new towels. I mean, we went through probably 30 Eagle 350s.
Yeah,
just trying
like
to get that
2 or
car
3
done.
packs just on that one car. It was insane, and we've heard it from other other detailers since then that it's not a fun.
Oh, stuff like that definitely hits the mainstream. I'm curious. So, how do you communicate with like other detail shops? Like, is there like a Reddit page or something? Or
Speaking of, so we actually really want to start a local detailer page, and honestly, it's more. So like big shops, they're fine. Like nobody's gonna get in between them. Customers are always gonna go to them. But for intermediate shops, I want to build a page that everybody can kind of come together, collaborate, maybe to talk about marketing. I mean, a lot of companies kind of hold that close to their chest because obviously it's an advantage. But as far as pricing, I mean, their shops in the metro area, they'll charge $600 for top of the line ceramic coating and correction, and there's other shops that charge $3,500. So there's no consistency in our market. And those shops are all kind of within the same size.
Right.
So from the outside looking in, like I don't know anything about this space, right? So if I see somebody charging $3,500 and somebody charging $600, some people might think that Mr. 3,500 is a scammer. I usually think, well, there's probably more they're offering in their product, at least enough room to ask questions.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference between a $600 ceramic coat and $3,500, and where do you guys fall in?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we kind of we're in the northern metro, so there's not as many high-end clients per se. So we kind of match our demographic a little bit more. We get a lot of clients from south in the western part of the cities. But yeah, we kind of fall in the middle. It really depends on what the condition of the vehicle is.
Yeah.
But for like a top-of-the-line ceramic coating with full correction, I mean, you're looking at probably close to $2,500. Whereas like when we first started doing ceramic coatings, we were that $600 shop when we were just working out of a garage, because you have to start somewhere, you have to learn. But it's all just really a learning process, because you can start out and the level of correction that we were doing is nowhere near what we are now.
Yeah.
Because you're the paint correction ceramic coating guy, I'm the PPF guy. So we kind of split work 50-50, which makes it really nice as a business partnership. But yeah, I don't know, we also just kind of
I was just gonna say you were getting there that the correction, that's a huge thing.
Yes,
when
yeah,
you're
that's what
buying
I've
a
heard a
ceramic
lot.
coating,
Yep.
if you're getting $600 ceramic coating, don't expect every scratch to be gone. The more you pay, the more you're getting for sure.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry. You can continue.
Yeah, and even kind of bouncing off of that, we have a little bit of a different theory with paint correction. A lot of shops say, yeah, we get every single scratch out, and you don't really want to do that necessarily. Maybe if it's a show car on like a RWB car or something, like, yeah, you want it to look as good as possible. But for a daily driver vehicle, if there's call it RIDS, random isolated deep scratch, we just kind of leave it, because especially in like high touch points, so like right by the driver door handle, we don't dig a whole lot. Yeah, gas tanks especially. We don't dig a lot, because you know that you're going to get a scratch there in the future. And if it's a relatively deep one, and if you want to correct it, say, for example, we're not around to detail it, we don't know what level of correction we went into, then you have a chance of burning. So either you're screwing yourself over, or you're really screwing the next detailer over who doesn't know how thick the paint is. And that's why like paint gauges are really important. And that's another point where like the really high-end shops, they're using paint gauges, kind of like ourselves. We're using paint gauges. So that way we can know what thickness the paint is, or at least have an idea, versus Joe Schmo, who's just detailing on the weekends. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll buff that scratch out for you.
I'll just grind it out.
Yep.
Not considering how much material's left there once they're done with it, you know. Yeah.
You're going to end up with either you're going to have to pay thousands of dollars to get it repainted, or the shop is. So kind of assuming liability with going really intensive with paint corrections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like the more you do it, there's gonna be less and less and less and less. I remember when I used to have my Cherokee, I had a really gnarly scratch. I can't remember what it was from. I was probably stupid. And I had a detailer. He's listening. Burned straight through the paint or whatever, because it was like on a weird like corner, which I think corners have usually thinner paint. I think, right?
Oh yeah, and it's just a place where your pad naturally puts more pressure, so
Right.
you're going through it faster. Yeah.
Yeah, so black turned to white, so it all worked out on that front. But yeah, it was really cool. It's like this cool little like rotary, like a little like Italian thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm curious. Actually,
There's a permanent sparkle in that one spot.
yeah, for somebody, not my problem anymore. So what about? Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead of myself here. Okay, so pH. What's the pH scale range from? I think it was like 2 to 14 or something, right?
I mean, yeah, theoretically, it could go to 0. I don't know what the strongest acid in the world is, but
It's
theoretically,
probably
1 to 0, somewhere in there. And then I don't know how high alkalines go either.
I think it's 14.
10 strong. I mean, 9 is strong. You don't if you're cleaning
Maybe
with
it's
it.
just 12.
Maybe it's 12.
Yeah.
We should know these things,
What?
right?
Well, the thing is hopefully you don't know these things,
Right, yeah.
Because
We're not exploring those polarized regions.
You don't want to
of
go
pH.
that deep into it. Yeah, you want to stay in this little happy region where things stay clean. Anything further, it's like, all right, what's fucked? So yeah, that's fair enough. That makes sense. So when you guys were developing the product, I guess. No. I don't go with my initial question. So what do you guys use like tools wise then? Do you guys like use American made tools, or do you have a wide range of tools or whatever? Because I know somebody like one of the detailers I used to talk with, he like used to order stuff from this Italian company, and I don't know, Italians and electronics. I don't know. I've heard things.
It's funny. We use all sorts of different tools from all over. I mean, Chinese, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, Italian, American made.
Okay, now we're back into East.
Yeah.
West. I got nervous for a second.
All for the Eastern Hemisphere. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, and speaking of Italian, Roots, a very popular machine.
That's the brand I was
We
looking
use
for.
one in our shop. We only have one,
Yeah.
oddly enough. And it's been great to us, but I've used them in other shops where, I mean, things fail. Like an Italian car, they fail. But we've had American polishers that have failed in a fraction of the time. We've also had American polishers that have lasted. I mean, one of our OG polishers is Adam Swirl Killer. I don't know what company down the line actually produced that product for them. It's definitely like a white label polisher. But holy heck, we've put hours on that thing, and it's going to this day.
I was going to say, that's been going for closer to 5 years than not.
Yeah.
It's been dropped on the ground. I mean, that thing has been abused.
Yeah. And when I was at the dealership, I was using it buffing sometimes 3-4 cars a day with that machine, dropping it, like you said, getting it wet. I mean, whatever, it doesn't care.
Which machine is this again?
It's the original Adam Swirl Killer. It's a 15 millimeter throw, random orbital polisher. I mean, really kind of run of the mill sort of machine, but
And
gets
then
the job done.
we ended up actually getting a couple of the newer Adams ones. Don't get them.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, they're awful.
So the older ones are better.
Oh yeah,
100%.
if you can find one for cheap, snag it up while you still
right.
can. Yeah.
eBay market kind of go crazy.
You stick with corded stuff, cordless stuff, or you got a little bit of both?
So
Or
that was kind of the problem with the new Swirl Killers from Adams, is that they're still corded, but they have like an attachment. So you can, for instance, leave one cord in the wall and go between like a 3-inch polisher and a 5-inch polisher or something like that. But that connection where it plugs into the polisher is terrible. But for the most part, we're doing corded for our big buffing, and then we have smaller, 1-inch polishers that are battery
I'm just
powered.
seeing like Milwaukee and DeWalt kind of going into that space now too, and they seem
Yeah.
like they're getting better units than just a single spinning like a angle grinder type situation.
Right.
Yeah.
They're getting better. Even Roops has started releasing a lot of battery operated. They have a 3-inch and a 5-inch buffer now that's lithium ion. So
And I've heard a lot of shops Yeah, once they go cordless, I mean they don't look back. And I don't know, I'm kind of old school. I like being able to always have power, never having to switch out batteries.
And consistent power, because as we know with like lithium ions in cars, when they're at 50% battery, you don't get 100% power, and it's the same with these tools.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the freedom of not having the cord though is when you kind of move to that stuff, it helps a little bit. You just don't have to think about it. But yeah, at the same time, batteries aren't cheap either. So, you know, they're $100, $200 a piece sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's the consistency thing too for you guys, right? Because like I'd imagine like when it gets to like that low battery, it, like does it not have as many revolutions and stuff maybe? Or
it's just torque, so it can still spin at its full speed if it's just like, you know, you're holding it in the air. But if you're using it and really trying to grind out a scratch,
you can hear it. It's like
it's
popping down.
Yeah, nothing's worse than like when a tool runs out of battery, you're trying to put a screw into something. Yeah, my last assembly, it wasn't good. So what's throw then?
Throw?
Yeah.
So when you're working with a random orbital polisher, it's doing kind of this as it's spinning, right? So the throw is the amount, you know, you've got the center right here is how far the backing plate goes off of that center point. So you've got like 5mm, 7mm, 15, 21mm throws.
So kind of a range it's within.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there different throws for different situations, or do you want like just the more throw, the higher end the machine, or?
Yes and no. I personally like the way that we look at detailing is you pick a tool and you learn how to use it. I mean, you can waste so much money getting XYZ tools, but you're always going to go back to your favorite tool. So it's like, why not just keep that around? We have different tools for different situations. But yeah, for the most part, we just kind of stick to one and we learn it. Same thing with detailing products. I mean, everybody's like, oh, this is the next best detailing product. This is the next blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can pick something and you can learn how to use it.
Yep. If you were going to pick like just one polisher to have, it would be 5.5-inch backing plate with like a 15mm throw. It's going to do 80% of the work you're ever going to have to do in a car, especially if you're just doing it at home. If you're a shop, you obviously need like a 1-inch, but you know, otherwise you're good.
Here's a question for you. How many tools would you need to fix my car?
Not very many.
You don't think so?
A steamer, a buffer, a pressure washer, foam cannon, some brushes. We can have that thing looking brand new.
Just
I'm
one
telling
flatbed truck and a crusher.
that might work too.
I'll remember that one down.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've held off long enough. I just wanted to get a little bit of a background, just kind of like how you guys operate. So I really want to talk Loonatek because like I've been excited about this for weeks or whatever. So I guess we talked about a number of your products that are your favorite that you're dropping in. But first of all, I love the names. You guys are so creative with the names.
Thank you.
Like one of your products is called cereal milk or whatever.
It's one of the best too. I mean, you got to admit.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with you. What is your favorite product out of the new lineup that you have?
My favorite product that we're selling is Aquabead.
Aquabead. Okay.
Yeah. And this is one you asked about earlier too, actually.
I tried it on my car. Actually, it worked well.
Yeah.
In that little, I don't know if you saw it, the single spot I used it on.
It's dark out.
Yeah, don't turn on the lights.
But it's like a jack of all trades, and like in the majority of like the world, you can't be a master of all things, but Aquabead kind of is. So
Aquabead's kind of like your typical but not typical waterless that people are used to, right?
Yeah.
So I guess what's different between that? Because like again, you guys went with your own chemist, you developed your own formulas and all this stuff. And like you said earlier, David, it's like obviously just learn how to use the tool that you have. Don't throw out all your like I have a box of 3D car care in my car still. I'm not necessarily gonna throw that all away.
Nah, use it up.
I will. I won't. Somebody will. After this podcast, you want to give away? No. But that said, what makes it, I guess, quote unquote, better or different than like your usual market stuff? Oh my God, he's going for it.
Many products are developed in like on the coasts, so like East Coast, West Coast, like down in Florida. But there's not very many products that are developed for Minnesota, like humidity. And humidity plays such a big role in detailing. And so that's where like Aquabead is such a good product, because once you get done with your wash process, we use it. It's kind of a drying aid and waterless wash product. So you
and sealant. Killer sealant.
Yeah. And but yeah, you just go around, rinse off your car, and that way you're not grabbing as much water into your towel, so you're able to dry your car off quicker, and then you're also leaving protection behind. And I mean, I don't know. I'd say it lasts anywhere between 30 to 45 days, like solid with washes, doing wash a week.
There's a reason why it's called Aquabead. It beads. Like it's
Okay.
like
So is it like
cheating.
an SiO2?
There's no silicone in it.
Really?
It's
Okay.
straight polymers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's another thing too about like ceramic products, which we even have one. But it's basically polymers that's giving you that beading effect. Anything that's water based, that's ceramic, it doesn't last.
The ceramics, the SiO2 in that product is not doing the majority of the leg work in a water-based formula.
It's just in there so you can call it a ceramic spray, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
There,
It's a
I'm
little
sure
bit of a
there are
hype word.
outliers.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, it's a polymer.
So can you tell us a little bit of the difference between like the polymer and a ceramic? Like what? Like again, failed chemistry guy over here, and
At least someone's asking the questions.
So polymers are fully synthetic. I mean, created for purpose. Like the first polymers ever created were like during the Manhattan Project or something like that. I'm pretty sure. So fully man-made, created for a specific purpose. There are really bad polymers like Teflon, you know what I'm saying? And then there's really good polymers that we use every day that are in like soaps. They serve all sorts of different purposes, and basically you can target something. Basically you can tell a chemist, I want a polymer that does this, and they can create it. Whereas a ceramic has properties that, I mean, silicone or silicon dioxide, it has the properties that it has. It's limited to that. That's what it does.
okay.
Yeah.
So why is ceramic okay? Because now I'm starting to get confused here. Maybe some of the listeners might be
You're
here
not
too.
the only one. I'm sure people are watching. It's like,
Okay, so I don't even know how to phrase this question. So I guess what is ceramic then? So why does it differ than a polymer? Like I guess use wise, like what do I as a consumer see difference wise from a polymer aquabead kind of style thing to like your typical ceramic product?
The more SiO2 content there is in something, the more difficult it's going to be to use. Primarily,
Why is that?
it's just one of the qualities of SiO2. You know, it's. I mean, you understand. This guy's a
So a
guy.
ceramic coat, is that like a solid SiO2 type situation then? Because that almost puts like a candy shell on the whole car, right?
It's
That's
like
Microscopic.
it's suspended in solvent. So basically, you're applying this coating, this silicon dioxide, this ceramic. There's usually polymers in it as well to help boost qualities. You're applying it. All of the solvents flashing away, and just that ceramic layer is what's left. And ceramic is very hard. I mean, it's what we make pottery out of. It's what glass is made out of. It's the sand on the beach that we know can
Your
like
toilet.
scratch glasses in your phone. It's that. I mean, it's a very durable thing.
And I even want to touch base when you say durable.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that it's scratch proof. It's not scratch proof.
No.
I mean, they say there's a certain company that markets it as hard as quartz, but it's on the pencil hardness strength.
Not the most hardness strength.
Yeah, not
So
the
a
most.
10 is high. It's hard, but it's not a diamond.
So
Yeah.
like your pencil in school is a 2H.
Yeah.
So it's either a 9 or 10H on the pencil hardness scale, not the most hardness. Because most hardness, I mean, 10 is diamond, and then like 9 is quartz.
Yeah.
And it's not on that
So like
scale.
you mean like number 2 pencils?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2
Okay,
pencils.
so that
That's
that
tensile
level of
strength.
hardness. Okay, and then what the hell is a number 9 pencil?
a
They're-
really hard pencil.
Yeah. For artists use them and stuff like that primarily. Yeah.
so it's based on a pencil scale. There's different scales for hardness.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get used interchangeably quite a bit. And it's not correct because they're, I mean, Mohs hardness is all the way up here, and then pencil strength is all the way down here as
Right.
far as how hard it actually is.
So you're saying that if I go up to this ceramic or whatever car, and I could go up to with a number 9 pencil, it's gonna get through, basically.
Yeah.
It'll be
Theoretically
Yes.
speaking. Okay.
It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. But yes, if you had a pristine black car and you did it in the sunlight, you would leave a mark in
But
it for sure.
it can defend itself very well against number 2 pencils, is what you're telling me. That's a
Theoretically.
hell of a marketing ad. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's probably the most made pencil out there, right?
Right, like that's
Against,
your kid.
Most pencils.
yes, this will protect you from 98% of pencils.
99.9% pencils. Okay, so that's it's using the pencil hardness scale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, theoretically, what's that next scale? What's the scale they should be using if they wanted to market it?
Mohs. Absolutely.
Mohs?
Yeah,
Is that what it's
I
called?
think so. Yeah. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
I'm pretty sure it's the Mohs hardness scale. Yeah.
Mohs hardness scale. Yeah. So, I mean, even most paint on a Mohs hardness scale is between a 2 and a 3. And that's a big range of hardness, realistically, too. I mean, you're talking, you could have a Hyundai, which is relatively soft, is maybe like a 1.9, and a German car with incredibly hard paint is maybe like a 3.1.
So Germans have the best paint.
Hardest paint for now.
Okay.
But it is a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's good because it doesn't scratch very easy. It's bad for people like me that pride themselves on being able to get scratches out because sometimes you can't. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then Mohs scale, is that MOHS is something? Oh,
I would believe
It's just
something around there.
pretty sure it's just MOST, just most.
I would just Google it, guys.
so somebody pull up
No, I mean
your
like the listeners and people like
Well, I'm just curious because
That's
that's a whole level. But yeah, that's the thing, dude. It's just marketing ploys, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got.
It's just most hard, or no, it is MOHS.
I knew it.
I was
told
wrong.
you.
Learn something new every day.
Detailers don't know nothing. D- over here, kicking your ass.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So we were talking about ceramic and polymers being different. See, I can keep on track. What I need a co-host for, but I can keep up. So we were talking about the differences of that. Then, so from the user perspective, we see that beautiful candy shell that ceramic provides. So then, is ceramic still a product that people want to use? Then,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
there's still a case for it.
Yeah, solvent-based ceramic coatings are incredible. Even some water-based ceramic sealants can be really good. It's just when somebody's selling you like, oh, I'm ceramic coating your car, and they're doing it like with a wash, for instance, you're going to like a detailer that's just starting out. Not that they're doing it trying to like rip you guys off. They probably just don't quite understand themselves quite yet. So they're applying, even if it's G-Technic C2V3, an incredible water-based ceramic sealant. It lasts like 4 months. You know what I'm saying? But it lasts 4 months. Whereas an actual ceramic coating can last over 10 years if maintained properly.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen that before. That there's like different levels of ceramic coating, and to be fair, a lot of the big companies too. They have these different ranges that they offer, like 4 months or 1 year, 2 year, or whatever. And I'm just curious, what goes into making those? And maybe you cannot answer this question, but what makes the 4 month different from the 10 year?
Yeah, to be clear, I'm totally not qualified to answer that question. But basically, it's just the amount of active ingredient, the amount of ceramic resins, the amount of polymers in there, the quality of those polymers, how they're piggybacking off of that ceramic molecule and reinforcing it. It really just depends on the technology and what it was developed to do. Scientists can do damn near anything now.
Yeah.
Seriously. So it's just all price based. If you want to spend $800 on a coating, you might get a coating that lasts 1 or 2 years. If you want to spend, and they're usually harder to use. The longer it lasts, the harder it is to use. Just because, like we talked earlier, ceramic resins are finicky. They're finicky to temperature, mainly humidity.
Okay.
So
I think I had a 1 or 2 year one on my orange car. And again, it's all on how you maintain it. The car stays inside. It doesn't sit in the sun. Gets hand washed. Like you can get the lower end ceramic and it'll last more than what they say it will.
If you maintain, especially if it's a show car, what a lot of people consider like a garage
Right.
crane or whatever, and you're treating it perfectly, it could last indefinitely. I mean, nothing's going to get a ceramic coating to go away other than like abrasion.
Right.
It's the only thing that's going to take it off. So washing, polishing, rubbing, those sort of things.
But in theory, if you use something like Aquabead and you're already washing your car once a week, let's say you're going to a show, you're on your way to Buck Hill and whatever, and you're spraying your car down, which it should probably bead pretty good because you used Aquabead the last time when you dried it. If you just kept doing that every time, it would be a similar...
Kind of not really. So the biggest thing is the chemical resistance. The chemical resistance with Aquabead,
It's pretty good.
it's pretty good, but it's nowhere near a ceramic level. So that's why it's like a really good maintenance product for ceramic coatings because it can actually bond to the coating.
Yep.
Many sealants don't bond to coatings.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's why like if you do get a ceramic coated car and like even we recommend it too. Like if you go to a touchless car wash, don't get the most expensive one.
No point.
Just get the most basic wash because once you get into the more expensive washes, they're going to start adding a bunch of chemicals to
Oh,
your
that
paint.
colorful, smelly soap, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Or even like the rain guard stuff. Like that's not going to bond to your coating. It's going to get rinsed off and it's going to be gone. You went
But I like the colors.
Yeah.
It makes the car wash fun. But no, we had Jen on from Carsmatology on a few months ago now. Wow, time flies. And she was talking about like that is one of the worst things you could do is you could take your car to a car
Butcher
wash
shop is what she called it, right?
The butcher shop.
Yeah.
We call it the slap and scratch, but
Yeah, we go between slap and stretch and shredder. There's a lot of names.
Mine
for
doesn't
it,
get slapped. I use touchless, which she said, by the way, is that they have even harsher chemicals.
They do, because you've
Absolutely.
got to do the cleaning without touching it. How else are you going to do that? That's another place where that pH comes in. You know, if you're not going to touch the car, you need a high pH so that the water can do all the work, basically. But yeah, they're not so bad if your car is coated and all your trim is coated and your wheels are coated, because then those high pH chemicals aren't going to bite into those materials if it's coated. But if it's not coated, yeah, I mean, seriously, those touchless car washes can be kind of gnarly.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a test. Just see somebody go through like a car wash. Just keep going through like a Mythbusters sort of video, right? Just see them going through like maybe 10,000 times. Just see how many car washes does it take until you have no paint left.
All I know is that with my orange car, when it was ceramic coated, I could hit it with a pressure washer, just lightly spray it off, wipe it down, and it looked like it had just been waxed.
That's the best thing about a ceramic coating.
Yeah.
If you're staying on top of it, I mean, seriously, you can pressure wash it. Use a product like Aquabead or your favorite detail spray and a nice towel and go around and dry it off, and like you're pretty much good. I mean, is it the right way to wash your car? No, like you might
Should
get some
ceramic coat a
micromarring,
car
but
and then do what you said. Go through the one non-ceramic coated, one ceramic coated. see how
Split it
much
down the
longer-
middle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the way. There you go.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, let's come back in a year, all right, when Loonatek is wildly successful, and we're going to fund a study, and we're going to take 2 brand new cars. We're going to get the hardest paint. Let's go get some Volkswagens, okay?
All right.
The greatest car ever. We're going to get 2 brand new Volkswagens straight off the lot. Same color. We're not going to, separate. We're going to have one that's black, one that's white. Because I'm curious, actually, across the board, because I've heard from you guys that Toyota black is not doing so hot.
it's not all Toyota black.
Corolla
To
black.
be clear. Yeah.
Yep.
Particular.
GM black or whatever. Have you found any difference between like colors having different like
yeah.
issues?
Oh yeah.
Mazda's red. Honestly, a lot of Mazda's paint systems are really soft.
Yeah.
In comparison to Volkswagen, I mean, they have a pretty solid paint system. Hyundai is relatively soft, but it's also really easy to correct and finish.
Fords. As
Fords
far as
are
colors.
wonderful.
Yeah, so most Fords are great. I mean, it's,
Well, I
sounded-
agree,
was like,
but
whoa.
you can just keep going. Yep, I agree.
But except Mustangs. Black Mustangs have a different paint system for some reason than any other color Mustang, and it can be kind of finicky. It's not as bad as like Corolla black.
So
or anything
even though
like
they're
that,
getting
but
all the same, or maybe they're using single stage, but if they're getting the same clear coat over it, the
not
color
the same
still
clear
makes a
coat.
difference, huh?
no, it's not the color, it is the clear coat.
Okay.
They're using different clear solutions for different colors. For some reason, coming out of a different factory, getting clear from a different supplier, maybe it's water-based, maybe it's
Right.
lacquer-based, I don't know. But even Ford, for instance, they have some tinted clear coats. They have like that dark blackish cherry red color.
Yeah,
Yep.
That
maroon.
clear coat is maroon. Like you use a white pad to polish it, your pad is maroon at the end.
Really?
You didn't burn through it. It's just that's the way it is, and that's actually a really nice. That's nice paint. That
They do a lot of
Ford
metallic
tinted-
flakes, so
yeah.
I think my truck has a metallic flake. My dad has tuxedo black. It's got a metallic flake in it
Tuxedo
too.
black's a crazy color. You
Yeah.
know that color changes like 4 times a year.
Really?
Yeah, they can't keep so all the different colors of flakes that are in that.
Yep.
You can't get all those colors from a consistent supplier at all times.
Yeah.
Does that make
We've had
sense?
some parts painted, and yeah, they don't quite match up.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't
well-
even dial it down to a year. You literally have to dial it down to build date, like what month it was built of what year to
Yeah.
match that color. Yeah.
We work really closely with the body shop up by us, so when we need to do touch up, he's like, okay, what's the build month and like year that it was produced? And we're like what do you mean? Because we're so used to just like you go into AutoZone and it gives you a range of like 2008 to 2013 Ford Focus whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh sweet, I'm gonna grab that. But yeah, the tuxedo black in particular, we were like, yep, we're doing tuxedo black. Gave him the paint code, and he's like, what's the build date? Because I have like 6 different paint like whatever mixtures.
Yeah. And then you
like,
tell him
whoa.
2021. He's like, no, what month?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild, actually, because I've always heard that like you can never get flake to like match ever. Oh, and by the way, just because I gotta stroke Dan's ego here, Mustang paint is the best, or Ford paint's the best.
Just black. Don't buy a black Mustang.
Don't buy a black Mustang. I had no intentions on
Seriously,
that.
don't. Yeah. No. Don't do it.
He literally comes in. He's like, "Do not buy a black Mustang." So where the heck were we before that? What were we just talking about right there? Oh God, man,
sorry.
the
Metal
flow
flake.
of consciousness. Flake, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude. So wild story. So about 3 or 4 months ago, I was at Caffeine and Octane, right? And this is really funny. Sad, really, because so there's like so I was at my buddy Dustin's garage, right? And just a couple doors down, there's this like older guy that owns the garage or whatever. And there was this like Mercedes AMG GT63 parked in front, which, as many people know, it's a very expensive sedan. It's about, I want to say, 180 grand at the time or whatever. So he's parked in front of the garage, right? And then one of the garage owners comes and clips him. Like, we're talking about an older guy, like 70s, maybe 80s. And
You
he's
want to be so mad.
the PPF saved most of it. Like, it literally got like the wheel, the bumper, or whatever. And the wheel's fine. Bumper was like, the guy came over and he's obviously visibly frustrated. They pieced together who hit it because like you could literally see the PPF rubbed off on the truck's wheel.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
it's like, dude, he's trying to deny it.
Yeah, that's killer.
It was a whole thing, and I got to witness this from a distance. And I'm like, yeah, the guy hit it, obviously. Like, the PPF is right there on his wheel. He's trying to deny it or whatever. But the guy, the owner of the car, like, this is a fairly new sedan or whatever, visibly distraught because he's like, it's never going to match again.
It'll
It's
never be
a
the same.
flake. Like, we've all known this, that flake almost never matches. So the fact that you say, like, it depends on the manufacturing date, it's wild, dude.
Or they have to blend it in, and then you can get like you have to
Oh,
go way out on some of that stuff.
We honestly have a car in the shop right now that was a full respray, and it's been sprayed portions of it 3 times now.
You're getting away from me a little bit, pal.
Between the doors, the rear quarter, and the bumper, they're 3 completely different colors.
Yeah.
One of them's black, blue, and green. It's
supposed to be a beautiful color. It's
Yeah.
dark metallic-y black with like purple and blue hues in it. But yeah, it's
And then you get contaminations like fish eyes, and paint nibs and everything when you get a respray. So it's like not only is the color going to be off, but then you have finish differences and even the orange peel on the paint. It's a mess.
and there's only so much you can do to remove texture. I mean, you can
Okay.
do a lot, but yeah, go ahead.
So I just went back to my childhood when I used to visit the fish store. First of all, fisheye and nibs. All right, what are those 2 different things?
Fish eye is from specifically like silica solvent or silica based products. So like ceramic coatings and tire shines.
Even a lot of spray, detail sprays and stuff have silicone in them. Yeah.
And so you can't have like silicone based products in a body shop. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of fisheye. So what it does is it lands on the surface and it creates a relief. And so instead of the paint going like up, so like a paint nib, it's a piece of contamination. And what the paint does is it goes like this and it kind of like picks up onto it. Whereas a fisheye, it's literally just resisting the paint. So it's just a valley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about so nib is like a hill, fisheye is like a valley.
Yep.
In basic terms. All right, cool. Just basically trying to throw it out there for people that just are on audio.
Yeah.
So
a fisheye is something under the paint, pushing the paint away, and then a nib is something that's like fit like a stone, a rock, a piece of debris.
I've seen that if you like paint something and then a drop of water goes on it, like say you're sweating or something and it drips on there, that'll cause a fisheye.
Yep.
well, even like vinyl, like when you put vinyl over a car or whatever, you kind of you can see like the contamination underneath.
If it's not perfectly clean, prepped well, yeah.
Yeah, I know that one all too well. It's even worse, like when you, for example, it depends on the vinyl. 'Cause some vinyl can get away with a little bit of contamination. I still don't recommend it, but I know with like 3M in particular, like I was doing like a satin hood or whatever a few years ago, and literally just a piece of hair, like tiny. We're talking, you know how thin hair is, and you could see that like just once you put the squeegee down, it's like, damn it.
Yep.
Was it? I mean, like, stop me. How big was the hair?
The hair, right around here.
Yeah, that's enough to be a big
About 3
problem.
inches. It was visible. No, I honestly though, it's like it's really underrated having a clean environment. Like my windows were tinted in not the cleanliest of environments. It's okay because yeah, I love you, buddy, but he doesn't do it anymore. He's on to bigger and better things either way.
That's good. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, he was trying to break in a little bit more into the tint side, and it's just it was relatively cold, I want to say, during that time of year. But again, you know, it's like, you know, you're doing it in a garage. People are coming through, coming and going, and if you look at my windows, they aren't exactly perfect. Now, do I care? No, it's a Volkswagen. It's not a show car. I said it right here. Volkswagens are rarely show cars. We saw a few at SEMA that were really cool, and you guys saw them. But
vintage stuff,
yeah. Well, not even vintage, like even like stuff from like my current generation or the previous generation. You know, like there's a really cool one at the Toyo booth. There's a really good looking one over there. It was like wide body, crazy. But it was red. Don't worry about it. It's a Volkswagen. But don't put too much thought into it.
Did you go through the wheel building? The one that had all the wheels and tires in it?
Oh,
It was
that's
like
where
out
we
in
started
separate.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah,
That was like my favorite build.
Was that your guys' first time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine
Super
too.
overwhelmed.
Yeah. It's a bit much.
I somehow managed to get through almost everything, I think.
Good. That's awesome.
I didn't like go into the nitty gritty and like talk to everybody at every booth or whatever because, you know, whatever. I was just trying to get a lay of the land and all that cool stuff. But yeah, nonetheless, like I don't really care too much to make the Volkswagen perfect is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
It's not a show car.
And that's kind of the thing with film, vinyl, window tint, and even kind of PPF to an extent is that it's there to do a purpose. It's there to block light. It's there to make your car a different color. It's there to protect your paint. I mean,
yeah. I'm very much
tiny
so
things,
function over form.
Yeah.
You know, that's just where I'm at. Like I wanted to, this is why I don't know. I love show cars. I could really, really admire them. I mean, they're amazing. That's what SEMA is all about. But I'm really excited to go to PRI because now we're going to, you know, basically the SEMA of race cars.
Race car shit.
Race car stuff, you know. Yeah, this is a censored podcast. No, I'm kidding. You and the potty mouth. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably the worst at
I
it.
was about to say,
Yeah.
you came out guns blazing in the beginning. I can't.
But I just, there's an art to stuff performing.
Yeah.
Right? Not tinted, pretty simple. Oh my God, my windows are black. But like when you look at like custom built cars, I mean, even some of the ones downstairs, right? You know, we're at Ratified Motorsport, shout out. But it's really cool to see like how much effort goes into making like something perform, right? And I'm sure the same could be said to like, you know, some of the products you guys create, right? Because okay, Aquabead. How many iterations did you guys go through for Aquabead?
This was an easy one, like 3.
3, and that's an easy one.
But we're also honestly in kind of the process of changing things right now, having a V2. Anyway.
Don't worry about it. 90% of people have signed off by now. No kidding. No. But that's the thing. You want a company that's constantly iterating. Like, for example, these Jocko cans, right? Like, this is the old stuff right here. But look at his can right here. Can you hand me that right here, Dan? Sure. Look at this. So these are the same flavor. They completely changed the front, right? And sometimes they might add 10 milligrams of this or subtract 5 milligrams of that.
Right.
If you are not constantly iterating on your product, that's how you die as a company.
Yeah.
So, yes, your
Don't
product
get comfy.
Yeah, your product is phenomenal right now, by the way. I've used it already, so, you know, in a little one-by-one area. My point being, though, it's the stuff that you think about, the regular consumer might not be, right? Because, like, you guys do this for a living, day to day. Like, you can notice that 1% difference, all right? You can tell the difference between an A- and an A+. Buddy, give me a C product. I don't know the difference. Like,
Fair enough. Yeah.
So my point being is don't be proud that you're developing a V2 because your V1 is already spectacular. You already went through all these iterations, so don't be scared of that. What's one of the products that you went through more iterations of then?
Cereal milk took us a little while.
Cereal milk.
Yeah, it's our
What is cereal milk?
Yeah, so it's kind of a, I don't want to say all-purpose dressing. It's like a exterior dressing. So it's safe for really like all your rubber, vinyl trim.
Do you have one here with you?
plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see the thing because
This is one of our products that does have silicone in it, by the way.
okay. Yeah, because this is the one that really smells good too, right?
Oh yeah, give it a whiff. You can pull it off.
Yeah, here, Dan.
Go
here.
after it.
All right, this is gonna turn into an ASMR podcast.
We're huffing paint.
Is there a
now.
seal on that?
Oh wait,
one?
hold on.
There
Yeah,
isn't,
just-
right?
Yeah, we gotta take off the cap, fellas. Yeah, give that a whiff. Yeah, that's one thing that I really love. Oh, we're gonna get high here real quick. No, give that a whiff, man. It's awesome because Yeah, you guys put a lot of effort into. First of all, I love the color scheme. Like when I showed up at the warehouse or shop again, it was cool to see the rainbow of products. And then you guys just had me on this whole huffing tour.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we had to like look after you for a little while before we let you drive home.
Did you bring a driver with you?
No, but there's something to be said about that. Like, I love the extra effort. Honestly, I love the labeling here too. It's just really cool. Again, I try not to have people on this podcast. Actually, I don't have people on this podcast that I don't want to talk to. If I am uninterested in you, I make it very clear, because at the end of the day, I want this to be a relaxed, chill environment of people I support or that support me, whatever. So, and that's not me being a douchebag. I love to shine a spotlight on people that are just awesome. Sometimes I get to you, sometimes I don't. It's okay. But my point being, is that from The Bear? Did you watch that show?
Good God, yeah.
Yeah, I caught that immediately. Immediately. That's a really great show on Hulu.
It's a proper one. Yeah.
I really sidetrack after sidetrack after sidetrack. I love that show. I can appreciate it because of all the editing and like. Dude, their color grading is phenomenal. All these things as a photographer, I noticed. It was awesome. It was
the
really
direction
cool.
was incredible.
Very well
Some
filmed.
of the episodes being one takes and stuff, crazy. Anyway,
Were they?
There was the one with the scene. It was that one service, and I'm sorry. It's the one where they had the game. It was like the game that was in the
Season 1 or 2? Okay,
one.
yeah, whatever.
Anyway, had a whole bunch of people come in, and it was like the worst service, nightmare service.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's throwing pots and pans, people are getting cut, burned, whatever. They filmed it all the way through.
Wow.
That episode gives me anxiety. You'll know which one it is if you watch it back. You'll be like, oh, this is the one.
Dude, that show, we won't get too deep into this rabbit hole, but that show, it gives me a Curb Your Enthusiasm level of anxiety.
Yeah.
Nobody gives me more anxiety than Larry
Is that the
David.
one with Lip from the show with the guys from... Oh my God, I was created the Horrible Family from Chicago.
Shameless.
Shameless, yes.
I don't
Pretty
even
sure.
remember any of the actors from Shameless, but
Okay.
it is kind of similar in the dry humor and sarcasms style show. Yeah, so probably.
Detailing. We'll get back to that. No, I highly recommend that show. It's a very good show. I love it. Whatever. Hulu has a couple decent things. I'm more of a Netflix guy. You know, all these other platforms.
I just want to pay for the non-commercial one, so I don't watch a lot of Hulu because it has commercials, because I'm a cheap bastard.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. You can't have them all. I get it. You got to pick and choose, right? I saw this coming down the line like 5 years ago. I'm like, sure, we're getting rid of cable, but like all the cable companies are owning all this now.
Yeah, they're still getting their bag. Yeah.
They're going to get their bag, bro. You think they're going to sit down and be like, oh my God, the internet. Oh. But anyways, okay, so product development. So how many iterations did you say Cereal Milk went through then, roughly?
It's hard to say exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably 4 to 5.
Yeah.
Probably like 4 to 5.
And it takes a long time to, communicate back and forth
Yes.
and change those little things. I mean, and, sometimes we change one thing and it ruins another aspect of the product. You know what
How
I'm
do you
saying?
find a
So-
scientist? Like you just like Google up scientists.
Craigslist.
And then, yeah. Okay, you have like a company, like you call up DuPont or something, and
Yellow Pages.
Proprietary.
I wish I could
Okay.
give you a full answer to that one. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, can't disclose. Okay, I get it. I mean, we've all
It takes
seen
a lot of research, though. I mean, you got to be willing to dig. Is really
Right.
what it is.
whatever, guys. We've seen Breaking Bad. Well, I haven't, but I really haven't.
I haven't either.
That's too bad.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's great.
I heard it's amazing.
Yeah.
But no, to your point, like sometimes you gotta share a little secret. Sometimes you gotta hold some stuff back. So I totally get that. So you said there's a bit of a compromise. So for example, like when you went through so many iterations of this, what are some things that you change this, but then it gives you an unexpected result? Like what are some of these things that you were kind of looking out for?
Aquabead was actually a big one.
Yeah.
Because our first iteration of it.
Grab Aquabead.
Yeah. Okay,
Show the
we're
people.
gonna play the music while we wait for
Let's
Aquabead.
spray it on the table and pour water on it.
But wait, there's more.
So first iteration, it was a little bit weaker than we wanted. Because we wanted something that's a little bit more, not necessarily standalone sealant, but something that has some durability to it. And we didn't see that right out the gate. It was just more of a waterless wash product, but we want something that actually left protection behind. And that just had some versatility to it, because a lot of products are just like one and done, which obviously you can't use a tire shine as a window cleaner because that's just never going to work. But with a waterless wash product, you could also have it be used as a rinseless wash. And so that's kind of why we just developed AquaBead, is so that way it is kind of a flexible, not necessarily all in one, but definitely if you're going to wash your car, it's a good product to grab.
Yeah.
Quick bouncing back to iterations. So if you see all the polymers, it's a very high concentration formula, and you can see all of them collecting up at the top. And that was we had a version of it that was way too high, and so they were literally all just clumping together, and we couldn't really use the product.
Yeah, the emulsifier just like wasn't stable enough to hold that much of the active ingredient. Basically, it worked great, but like it wasn't shelf stable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shelf stable being like eventually over time will just clump up like crazy.
Right.
Which I mean you see a little bit here, but that's
That's how you know that good stuff's in there. Yeah.
Even that though, and I already kind of spilled the beans about V2.
Yeah. That's
so that's kind of why we're on that, because we've had a couple customers that, like, every time you come in for a ceramic coating or a detail, PPF, we always send our customers with a product, whether it's just our basic detail spray or it's AquaBead, kind of just get a vibe of what the customer is, how they're going to take care of it. And we have one specific customer, and he always comes to us, once every other week for a wash all throughout the summer for a wash and vac. And we gave him some AquaBead right when we first got it. He uses every once in a while to like grab bird droppings, but it sat in the trunk of his Corvette, and I don't know where he parked it, but all the polymers clinged to each other, and it was one of the first iterations of it.
Yeah.
And
it didn't even have a label on it. It was like a early AquaBead. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just fully transparent, and all the polymers, all the coloring just clumped together, and we were like, oh yeah, that doesn't work anymore.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
So you typically want it to be stable enough to leave in the trunk of a car, right?
Right. Yeah. And that was an extreme situation. Like, I'm sure that trunk in the back of the C8s, like, they get hot because it's engine. Little tiny trunk, and heat breaks down emulsifiers, and that causes things to separate. Same thing, like if you break a sauce when you're cooking, it's because you put too much heat in it, right? So presumably that's what happened, but it should be able to hold up to that. Yeah,
and people love kind of getting up in arms of like, oh, I left it in my trunk for 6 months and now it like doesn't work, or something happened, or it froze. But it's like, you can't do that with any sort of chemical. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, even a bottle of water, if it's floating around in your back seat for 3 months in the summer, you probably don't want to drink it.
You don't want to drink that. Yeah, no. People always make fun of me, like, why do you have half-filled bottles? I'm like, because I'm not finishing that. Like,
exactly.
That's my emergency water. I get like caught in a blizzard or something.
Yeah.
I'm weird with bottles of water, and specifically like fruit. If I bring it with me somewhere, and if that goes out of my sight, I don't eat it. I don't drink it.
Yeah, this guy will bring in like an orange and an apple and pick one, and then the other one will be sitting the next day. And I'm like, you eat that apple? He's like, no. No way.
It's bad.
It sat here it was unattended for too many hours. I can't have it.
If it's in a fridge, sentence.
I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm really careful about my water, and sometimes like fruit. Like
you never know when somebody might just put a little cyanide in your fruit while you're not looking. So yeah, rather
I'll
be safe
find
than
like
sorry.
a day old breakfast sandwich under the seat, and I'll eat that sandwich. I don't care. I don't care.
That would tear me up for days.
If you think about the amount of like a gas station breakfast sandwich, I bet you could eat that bad boy 6 days sitting under your seat, and it'd still be all right.
To
Because
be
there's
fair,
so many preservatives in that crap.
You're probably onto something there.
Yeah. All right. So then for V2, then I'm not competent enough to discuss this. But nonetheless, basically having a little bit of polymer just chilling on the side, that's fine. Basically, it's still that's the good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So, in a waterless wash, though, real quick before we get too far into some of this stuff, is that something? So, like when Harris did this the other day on his car, it had this much dirt on it already. Is this something you recommend? This is like something. So what I feel like it is like you washed your car and then you drove 6 miles to the show, and now you're gonna just hit it again a little bit and wipe it down because you picked up a little bit of road grime and stuff like that. A little bit. Yeah,
that's a perfect scenario for this product. I mean, really, part of what we developed it for was to be like a rinseless, waterless wash. Which the difference between a rinseless and a waterless, to be clear, let's just cover that really quick.
Okay.
A rinseless wash is where you take 2 ounces of this, pour it in a bucket, and You rinse the car off first. You use a wash mitt or some nice towels. Wash the car with that solution, and then you can dry it. You're done. You don't have to rinse it again. That's the safest way to use this product by itself if you don't want to break out like a soap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Get the pressure washer out, get the foam cannon, blah, blah, blah. If your car is relatively clean, just has a layer of dust on it, totally good to do a rinseless wash.
And then a waterless wash is exactly what it sounds like. You're not introducing water. You're just using this product. So you're using it super liberally. I mean, you're wetting down that surface. And it shouldn't be a surface that's, Minnesota late November dirty. That's not the ideal situation.
It shouldn't have been what you did the other day. I saw him doing it and I went, I was like,
it's protecting you better than anything else would.
Used for.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I should have my car somewhat clean if it's okay, if it gets a little dirty, like for a week or whatever. Not a winter. We're not talking about salting. Right. Then I could use this sucker and it'll bring me back to, a good area.
And to be fair, if you've got a car that you've never done a paint enhancement on, it's more than 5 years old. I mean, dude, look clean. Roll up, look clean. Like, do what you got to do.
Well, yours is
You're
white
not going to hurt it that bad.
It's white, like, shows everything, but it doesn't show scratches very much.
Right. Yeah.
So you're saying when I used to etch very painfully wash me on my trunk, that's bad for the paint?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Noted.
That's the thing with polymers too, is what they're doing is they're encapsulating what's on the surface. So yeah, if you have little specks of dust or dirt, whatever it may be, it's encapsulating that so that way when you wipe it off, it's not scratching your car or not as much. There's no way of truly getting around never scratching a car. I don't care who you are. I mean, if you're doing one wipe, like even during like a full wash process, yeah, I mean, you're going to avoid a lot of scratches. But over time they build up. You'll catch something in your mitt. It's just part of the process.
That's the other thing. I mean, I think about this all the time. Our wash mitts go through the nastiest stuff. Not our wash mitts in particular. I'm talking about the whole automotive industry and as a
wash
whole,
mitts
right?
in general.
Wash mitts go through a lot. I mean, you're using them to get like bugs and grime off the bottom of your car, and then you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna like dip it in water and it's gonna be fine. Would you do that same thing with a microfiber towel? Would you like use it on an engine bay or something like that, or like use it in a wheel arch and get it like nasty and then just rinse it off and say I'm good? Well, people like us wouldn't, but we'll do that thing with a wash mitt and think it's fine. It's really the same thing. Yeah, you can get really into it or you don't have.
We use a wash mitt 5 times and then pitch it.
It's just done.
I mean, they're cheap. It's worth it to not introduce scratches, and just go through it's a consumable product with detailing. And that's where, and kind of full circle back to like what's the difference between a $600 detail shop and a $3,500 detail shop. It's what products and like how often you're replenishing like what you use, because some people may think that Kirkland towels are okay. They definitely have their place on paint. Not my favorite. The old Kirkland towels were better. They were way better. The new ones, they're horrible. So like for example, that GR, if we were to even try to touch it to the touch a yellow towel to that paint, it'd be completely shot. Game
over. Yeah. It would have been literally like a blanket of haze in the direction that we swiped that towel. Literally, it's
But yeah, so it's like just depending on how often shops replenish their tools, it reflects in the price. It's shop supplies. Just because some mobile washes, I mean, they might use the same wash mitt for 6 months, whereas we use it for maybe 5 vehicles. If we have a brand new vehicle that's coming in or ceramic coated vehicles, we're normally reaching for new ones.
Do you have like a type of wash mitt that you recommend? Because I've seen some that have like. Mine looks like it's got like dreadlocks or whatever, and they're like little bits of microfiber, and then I've seen them that are like woolly.
Yeah.
So
you kind of want to stay away from the woolly ones. The woolly ones are a little aggressive. For the same reason you wouldn't use like a wool buffing pad to wax a car. You don't want to use it to wash a car. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little aggressive. Unlike a car with hard paint, it probably wouldn't cause a problem. But, just to use microfiber.
Superior German paint. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it could be, but, still. But there's a couple different things. Honestly, like David is stressing the importance, like it being clean is the most important thing. It's more important than like the quality of that wash mitt. We honestly use pretty cheap wash mitts. We use these nice like white velour kind of like the dreadlocky kind of looking
Yep,
ones,
yep.
the short microfiber ones. And, you know, they're like $5 a piece. You know, you can spend $15, $25 on a wash mitt, but like how many times you really want to use it to get your money out of it, you know? So, yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is like with microfibers, I mean, especially paint towels in our shop, if we drop it on the ground once, we'd literally just throw it away.
Give it to me, yeah.
Yeah, we give it to you.
A lot of them do end up going home with
Those end up in my shop. They're like
Yeah.
for changing oil and stuff like that. That's what I
Yep.
do with those too. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like microfibers, what are they meant to do? They're meant to hold on to things. You
They're
can't
not gonna
just
let go of it.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're never gonna let go of it. You can't just throw it in your washer and like it just magically cleans it and you get it out and you're like, oh, perfect. So yeah, that's why we're always purchasing. We have a set amount of money set aside every month.
Yeah.
For just purchasing towels, wash mitts,
Pads, polishing pads, applicators. I mean,
Yep.
it's
Well, Jen
handles.
did the same thing, like when she was on this podcast too, because again, she has 20 years of experience, you know, so it's like
She's an OG.
She's an
Yep.
OG in the community, so obviously you would think after 20 years she knows what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
So it's like, yeah, you know, to your point, it's like you don't necessarily need the most expensive products. Like some things that are consumables, like, you know, towels,
Yep.
you know, if they can do a certain job for this particular thing, you don't need to get the most expensive one.
Yeah, and there's a place too, right? That's the other thing is like we have Rag Company towels in our shop, and we do still have Kirkland towels in our shop. We use our Kirkland towels for interior details, engine bays, whatever.
And honestly, even to Jen's defense, I'll even touch base on it. So she's predominantly working on like Porsches, Mercedes. She's working on harder paint systems, which are fine with like Kirkland towels.
She's had a lot of okay, let me restart. Since she moved down to the Prior Lake area, she's had a explosion of, you know, more clientele. I mean, she's always had a wide variety of German cars, but yeah, it's a lot more. Like I think like last time I was in there was a Viper and a Hellcat or whatever. So
Hell yeah.
hell yeah, brother. But nonetheless, and I'm sure that even before, you know, she was at Emola, you know, years ago, I'm sure she was doing a wide variety of things too. So, but yeah, nonetheless, what you were saying, it's like there's a place for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas like honestly, a lot of our market is Hyundais, Toyotas, Teslas.
Yeah.
We're not focusing as much on like the higher end clientele. We'd love to be able to have the opportunity and kind of tap into that market, but just location based, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And the people who do have those vehicles, it's kind of tough to get into that market. So like even like even Chaz, for example, like he stopped by and we chatted for a while. I don't know who details his car. But yeah, it's just kind of hard to get into that more niche clientele.
Those cars, so Chaz's and Jess's, are usually detailed by 2JZ Katie. Because
yeah.
that's her passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's big on the wax train. Like,
Yeah.
She's cool.
Yeah.
Wax is dead, but she's cool. No, I'm just
Yeah, so I'm curious actually, because this is like one of those like never-ending debates, right?
Yeah,
Like it's such a polarizing topic, you know, depending on what you grew up with, what you're used to, or whatever. So you guys are more in favor of ceramic over wax, or Okay, so that's a good claim to make. So
Technology changes.
I was about to say, go where the technology goes.
Even in wax, like Carnuba's a different kind of wax, right? Like I remember when that was the hot thing.
That's an organic wax.
Yeah, so they were like, no, this is the kind of wax get your little green thing of turtle wax and throw that shit in the garbage that you had on your shelf since 1984.
Yeah, Carnuba wax was great because it's kind of like ceramic coatings in the sense that it actually adds gloss. Like it adds like a warmth, a depth to the paint. But it doesn't do anything to protect your paint. Yeah. It doesn't do anything to protect your paint. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, you go through like one hot car wash. Some car washes use hot water. And you go through there with wax. I mean, it's stripped right off.
And it has no chemical resistance either. Yeah.
And even to fellow detail shops that might be watching this, like our favorite analogy is if you have a wax ball and if you have a glass ball and you roll them down the sidewalk, you pick them up at the end, that wax is picking up onto everything. Where it's a glass ball, it might have some contaminants on it, but you can rinse that under hot water or just water in general, and it'll come right off. Whereas wax, it's going to hold on to those larger contaminants, and it's on a microscopic level. But over time, you're taking those like if you have wax on your vehicle and those embedded contaminants, and you're wiping that across the surface of your vehicle, you're introducing scratches. Yeah. Whereas ceramic coating, it lowers the
surface tension.
Yeah, surface tension angle. So that way things just don't stick as well to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we call it, we say they have self-cleaning properties. Like even like a polymer-based sealant, you spray it with water, it's gonna be clean. Like you were mentioning your experience with your orange car.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's great. It was just a simple rinse off and a wipe down or whatever, and it looked like it had just been waxed. So that was nice.
So then, are basically with a ceramic coating, and let's be clear, a properly done ceramic coating, would you say like it's more like locked in, kind of like those, like on a more like molecular level, like
It physically bonds to your clear coat.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas wax would be what?
It just kind of sits and fills in the little crevices and just kind of sits on top of the surface.
Wax hides scratches.
A little bit. Yeah.
Whereas ceramic coatings, if anything,
Accentuates.
if anything, it magnifies what's underneath the paint.
Yeah.
And so, kind of full circle back to the $600 versus $2,500 or $3,500 ceramic coating packages. It's all in the prep. Like the ceramic coating aspect of it, not the most difficult. Every product is different, but that prep is what's really key to it.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot more ads on Facebook. So I do a little bit of research in this space too, because I've thought about doing something just kind of on the side. I have kids that are getting into that teenage range.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to detail cars so you can detail my cars. And so I am always curious about all this stuff. So I've seen people looking at the ceramic coat stuff, and there's a lot more like self-application stuff. And then I look at the comments, and everybody's like, yeah, but in ceramic coating, it's 100% in the paint correction.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, before you put that candy shell on, you better make sure the paint doesn't look like shit.
Don't preserve something that's not worth preserving.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which we go back full circle when you guys reached out a few months ago. Hey, we'd love to offer you, whatever. When we talked a few months ago, it's like not on this Volkswagen.
We were willing to fix it.
Well, I'm on the podcast too.
Yeah. No, hey.
Yeah. This one won't be leaving. Yeah, you gotta earn some more podcast brownie points before you get any freebies.
Well, just doing some research, right? That's why I landed on. We talked about griots before. That was, and I had talked to a gentleman at SEMA, and they seem like they put a lot of effort into their product too, and so that's kind of where I landed. I wasn't just buying the McGuire's from O'Reilly's or whatever. Not that they're a bad product either, but.
Griot's is definitely at a higher caliber than McGuire's or Chemical Guys or anything like that.
Yeah.
Griot's, Adams makes a pretty decent product as well, honestly. But it's like, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. Griot's is almost kind of like in a zone right now where I've seen they've come out with a couple new formulas, like added hydrophobics to their spray wax and stuff like that, but they're kind of like in a phase where they're like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So I worry, I'm like, you guys need to keep pushing forward the way that, like, I mean, I don't like Chemical Guys, but at least they're coming out with new stuff.
I've actually heard that from several people, that Chemical Guys is garbage. So yeah.
At least they're trying though. They clearly have chemists out there just like slinging products out, like try this.
Well, I think they do a lot of marketing, and their packaging looks cool and all that stuff. So
and they're in like AutoZone and stuff, so it's like
it's accessible.
It's accessible. So and if you have that little bit of a hype where you have a platform where, hey, you can sell whatever 30,000 units next week. I mean, they ship them off to all the AutoZones. They make money. They're out, and they discontinue the product if it doesn't have positive feedback. Whereas, go ahead.
No, I was I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah, no, you're all good. But yeah, whereas like griots, like you said, they're kind of in like a weird dead space right now, and that's even where like Ceramic Bro, for example, it's a ceramic coating. Yeah, sure, it's fine. They're one of the first people on the platform. I know we've even talked about this too, that it's just a marketing company and they have a ceramic coating, whereas G-Technic is more of they have a ceramic coating and then they market it. And so that kind of speaks a lot of volumes to us. There's a lot of great ceramic coating companies out there. Like so many people get so tied up on, what coating should I get? Like which one's the best? If you maintain them properly, they're all good. They're all pretty equal. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot.
They're all mixed in the same bathtub somewhere. Yeah.
The base compound for it probably.
We're just going back to the Breaking Bad situation as all.
Yeah. And even like so one of the shops that we're really close with is RM Auto Spa.
Shout out Reese.
Yeah, shout out. He's dope, and we've been in communication with him for a long time. And just kind of chatting back and forth about different troubleshooting issues that we may be running into, or just kind of chatting about pricing. He's the only Modesta installer in the state, and he does phenomenal work. I mean, his paint correction it's to a caliber that we don't see with a lot of other shops. Yeah. And unfortunately, like we're surrounded by quite a few shops, and we correct a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
From other shops, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And kind of the saying that we kind of go back to is do it right or do it twice. And because if somebody, I mean, we had probably 5 or 6 phone calls today. I mean, we're not natural born salespeople.
We're detailers. Yeah.
And so when I get on the phone and I start talking to people and then I tell them a price or at least a range, they're like, oh, that's the highest quote I've heard all day. But it's like, okay, I mean, go to the shop that's going to charge half what we're charging or 2/3. And then we'll end up seeing you back if you're not happy with it.
Yeah. And to be fair, we add as much value into our product as possible. So like you said earlier, like we're kind of in the northern realm of, expense for shops in Minnesota, especially the northern metro. But like when we do a ceramic coating, for instance, we're not nickel and diming for like glass wheels trim. Like when you get a coating through us, we're doing the glass wheels and trim. Like the whole car is getting coated. So people kind of get that sticker shock at first, and then they're kind of like, oh, but you're actually going out of your way.
Yeah, I've seen the ad wheels for like another 400.
Yeah,
I've seen that a la carte type deal.
Is coating wheels that hard? Not really. I mean, unless you got like a super intricate multi-spoke and then you just bite it, you do it because you're having fun. You get to work on something nice. Go ahead. Sorry.
But there is companies that they want you to sell it a certain way. So like, and you can always go against what the company says. At the end of the day, they can't hold you back from installing a product because all they want you to do is buy their product and install it. And so some people are just looking for, hey, I just want my paint coated, or hey, I just want glass.
Yeah.
And so that's where like detailing, that's kind of how we got into ceramic coating was, hey, do you want your windshield coated? Or hey, do you want all your glass coated? It's going to help with visibility in the rain.
That is actually where we started with coatings, was glass coatings. Yeah.
Are you doing interiors yet? I've seen people doing that too, ceramic coating interiors, and I'm like, that seems like
this is a topic.
Yeah. I don't agree with putting solvent-based anything inside of a car for many reasons. There's a health aspect, which is probably like paranoid to think about, but you're putting a solvent in a car and then it's off-gassing for a period of time. Is it 10 minutes? Is it 2 hours? Is it 2 weeks? Who knows? But regardless, somebody is going to breathe that in. You know what I'm saying? Because as solvents flash, they off-gas. It turns from a liquid into a gas and then dissipates, right?
So you're saying I could ceramic coat my lungs?
I do every day.
and that's the thing is, even like with us, I mean, we wear masks and everything, and we take the necessary precautions. But even before we had masks and we were just like, it's no big deal. I mean, those solvents, they'll cause scarring in your lungs. And by the time you get done ceramic coating a car, I mean, specifically me, like one of the reactions that I have, it's like your lungs hurt a little bit, and for some reason, like my scalp gets really itchy, and it's just one of the reactions to the solvents. And so many people are like, that's why like consumer based products, ceramic coating products, not really for, because by the time you add, like you're getting a buffer, you're getting your pads, you're getting your towels, you're getting your compound, you're getting your PPE,
Yeah,
I mean, to do it properly, I mean, you're $1,200 deep.
And that's the price of an entry-level ceramic coating applied by a professional shop. So
and so like us, for example, I mean, we're sitting anywhere between, on like a really small sedan, maybe like $1,350, and then we have packages that go up to $3,000 if you really want to.
What product are you guys using for ceramic coat?
G-Technic.
Okay.
G-Technique. All the best, detailing product brands, you don't know how to pronounce it. There's two ways.
All right.
Like
and they have tech in it, right?
Yeah. And like G-Technic actually does, we offer interior protection through G-Technic, but it's not solvent based. There's a lot of companies that are making specific leather and vinyl solvent based ceramic coatings, and like, can you develop it to be safe on the material? Sure, but can you develop it to be safe on every material? No. Like, it's safe probably on pleathers and synthetic leathers and, capped leathers and stuff like that. But if you had a Bentley or a BMW comp with like nice, or even like, I mean, there's Dodges and Hyundais that come with Napa leathers these days. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to, I mean, it's a porous material. It's like skin. It's cowhide.
Yeah.
You don't want to lock that in.
No, it seemed gimmicky gimmicky to me. That's why I asked you. It's like, what's okay? You want me to ceramic coat your gas cap, or you know, I mean, like, what's next, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they work, but it's just like, how is that leather truly going to hold up over time? I mean, some people, these really special cars, they should be around for decades, not just 5 years. So
especially if you have like a vintage car. I mean, if you had like a 964 Porsche, like if it's not cleaned properly before application,
that's
how are
a whole
you
nother
getting it out?
thing,
Like,
yeah.
how are you guaranteeing that you're getting it off at a consistent rate? Because it wears off. Like we offer interior protection packages. We warranty them for a year, and it's really not even a warranty. It's just saying like, hey, it's probably going to last about a year.
Right.
If you still want to keep getting it done, feel free to come back. But yeah, we don't really believe in like lifetime warranties. Like Ceramic Pro, they sell lifetime warranty gold package.
Impossible, especially with that system. The 9H top coat system is so far in the past from Ceramic Pro.
Pencils. We're back to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Literally.
I can keep up with simple words. Pencil. Okay.
But
Numbers and letters.
but it's even like Aquabead, for example. That's kind of how I compare. I'm going to compare Ceramic Pro's like gold lifetime warranty. If you keep coming back every single year for maintenance or for a checkup, they want you to install a topping or like a topper every single year. And like that has to go through like a really strict warranty system, and that's why we stepped away from it. But it's like Aquabead. If you keep applying it every single year or like every time you wash your car, it's going to last. So it's like every year that you're going in for Ceramic Pro, you're getting a 1-year coating. And if that, honestly. We have fixed countless cars, and that's kind of even like a little bit of banter between Reese and I, that we fixed so many Ceramic Pro cars, and even our personal customers, we went through and
We've replaced Ceramic Pro coatings, not because Ceramic Pro was willing to warranty it, but because we had a customer that took care of their car the way that they should, and the coating, it didn't fail, but it was not acting the way that some of the more modern coatings we've been using since Ceramic Pro perform.
Okay. Yeah. So to kind of push back on that, then, is there like a certain like level of Ceramic Pro that just works better than like their gold package, or how's this all work?
So how Ceramic Pro works is it's a multi-layered system, which is how a lot of early ceramic coatings were. And they have a new one now. It's Ion. It's like a self-healing coating. I don't have any experience with that one, so I'm not speaking with that one. I'm speaking with their 9H and top coat system. Basically, the 9H that goes down is hard, and it has a lot of longevity to it. It's basically a glass coating. It's a ceramic coating in its purest form. There's no polymers in it to help it have effects like hydrophobics or UV protection. All of that comes from top coat. Top coat is a separate coating that goes on top of 9H. So if you're getting silver, you're getting 5 layers or
no. So it's So they have bronze, which is God, forget how they advertise.
It's been a while since you've used it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah,
I think it's a 2-year coating.
Yeah.
And so that's just their top coat.
Yep.
And so it's like just the hydrophobic properties, and then you have, if you go one further back, which is their sport. That's a 6-month coating, and that's what they wanted you to use as the annual maintenance.
It's a water-based silicone like boost product, basically. Yeah.
And then you jump up to silver, and then that's 1 layer of their 9H, 1 layer of their top coat, and then you jump up to gold, and that's 4 layers of 9H, 1 layer of top.
Yeah.
Then they have a platinum, and I think that's like 8 or 9 layers of 9H. I don't know. That was like new once we were getting out of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, even imagine walking around your car 4 or 5 times doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. From an installer's perspective, it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of labor that goes into it. I mean, and you have to like wait a certain amount of time in between each coat.
But that's why it costs more for like the top tier platinum. What does a typical like platinum one go for? Any idea? I probably shouldn't.
I don't know
We
what
never
people
even
are
sold
charging
it.
for Ceramic Pro these days. I think the highest we ever sold when we were doing Ceramic Pro was gold, which was 4 layers of 9H.
Is that something that can be tested with your paint thickness stuff?
No, it's not going to show up on a paint thickness gauge. But I mean 9H it does some things. It brings up the pencil hardness a little bit of the paint.
And if you have multiple layers, 9 times 9 is 81, so 81H. Right?
You should be able to drive it through a building, right?
But it's not hydrophobic or anything like that. Like 9H is not hydrophobic. Only the top coat is, and the top coat lasts between, we'll just call it 6 and 18 months, depending on how you take care of it.
Yeah. So I personally, once we got certified and everything, and we'd already been installing ceramic coatings and whatever, we jumped both feet into Ceramic Pro, and I had a 2019 Elantra GT at that point, and did a full correction, did their recommended prep spray, everything, did a silver package on my car, so 1 layer of 9H, 1 layer of top coat, and within 6 months completely failed. And I was
Top coat was gone.
Yeah, top coat was just straight up
Out of the
gone.
picture. Yeah.
But I also live downtown, and so that's a huge thing about ceramic coatings is environment. So if you have a show car, Ceramic Pro might be for you. But it's like even Aquabead. I mean, I could put that on a car, on a show vehicle. You could wash it 5-6 times. You might wash that in a year, and the customer might not know a difference.
Yeah.
Obviously, would we do that? No. But yeah, it just really depends on the application. So like for me personally, living downtown with like the industrial fallout and all the smog and everything, it clogs very, very quickly. So I ended up I was like, okay, maybe I installed it incorrectly. Went back, did a full decon, retopped it, and yeah, it failed even quicker once we got into winter.
So is there a tier that would be, because like I've always seen them, and I'm sure many people in the industry has seen them as like the name, because it's in their name, obviously. So I'm just curious then. I mean, they aren't necessarily misleading, but is there I guess a tier that just makes sense, like gold, for example, like just makes sense for people? Or
if you were gonna do one of their older systems, not Ion, their most recent system that just came out very recently, I would just do silver.
SEMA.
Honestly,
Silver.
yeah, because you're gonna need top coat. Once you're gonna have to go to a Ceramic Pro certified shop and pay for that maintenance, which is basically them applying sport or top coat or something every year or so anyway. So
And that's even
don't go crazy.
That's even another thing too, is just the maintenance, because that maintenance isn't free. I mean, we've heard of shops charging anywhere from $250 all the way up to $500 for annual maintenance for them to reapply that top coat, or not even top coat, just like sport, just so you can get those hydrophobic properties back. That's where like G-Technic is really nice, because they don't really advertise maintenance products.
they provide it, I assume, though, or suggest it, or
C2V3 is their ideal maintenance product. Yeah.
What's that?
All the detailers out there know what C2V3 is. Incredible, but it's a spray ceramic sealant.
So a
it can
lot
be
less labor
standalone or as
intensive.
it's a lot less labor intensive. Yeah.
It's just like you introduce it into your wash process. Once you're done, you can either choose to dry your car all the way off, or you can, if you're doing like a quick coat,
Use it
per
as a
se.
drying aid.
use it as a drying aid.
Yeah.
so ultimately it's just like a different product than compared to like, let's say, G-Technic then.
Yeah, G-Technic, they're a nanoscience company. I mean, they put millions of dollars into, probably more than millions, into developing new versions of their coatings every year. Stuff that we don't even see. They're just testing and going through it constantly.
Again, they'll update the product without even telling you.
Yeah, so with G-Technic.
Maybe.
Yeah, so like C2 is technically the name of the product, and then it's a V3, so it's on version 3 right now.
Yeah.
So like even EXO, their ceramic coating lasts 18 to 24 months. They just released a V2 of that.
Version 5.
V5, sorry.
And it's an incredible, for a standalone, like, entry-level coating, outperforms any entry-level coating you can imagine. It can be used as a top coat, too. Not that any of their coatings need it.
So hardness-wise, how does that compare then? Because like, okay, is hardness like something that you should really care about? Like, cause is that like
Nope.
So 9H versus, did I use a different measuring stick over at G-Technic or what?
No, they don't. So they do advertise hardness in a way that's not quite as scammy as some other ceramic coating companies, but they're still saying that, for instance, Ultra, I'm pretty sure they say that it's 9H.
10H.
10H, yeah. But it's pencil strength. It's not Mohs strength. So it does increase the hardness of the paint a little bit, but it's not as hard as a diamond,
Right.
misconception.
You can still take a dry fingertip, go up to
Scratch
it, and scratch it if it's dry.
Yeah. Okay. So then is there any ceramic company on the planet that has that, quote unquote, super hard, whatever coating, like diamond level or whatever?
Hard, I don't know, but
No.
the newest technology that's been coming out in ceramic coatings that we have not had the opportunity to play with yet is self-healing.
Yeah.
So some of the same properties that PPF has, and these are usually layerable coatings. The two systems that I know of are layerable. So you're building this product up, right? And I keep touching my mic. But in basically it can self-heal. So is it super hard? No, it can still scratch, but it can self-heal, like micro marring, towel marks, stuff like that away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because we're not trying to. I don't know what the obsession is with like having your stuff so protected. Like, oh my god, you could throw a hammer at it; it's gonna be fine.
Cybertruck or something.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say Cybertruck.
Did you guys see the video that just went viral yesterday? Where they did a Cybertruck reveal or conference or whatever.
With the Porsche.
Yeah, like first of all, I had like 15 people send it to me. I was one of the first people to see it because, like, again, everybody sends me shit. Like, it's wild. But yeah, if I'm not the first to like watch a reveal, I will find out really quickly. But it was cool. I think it was really cool. I mean, you're talking about 11,000 pounds, but at the same time,
Was it like a 4S or something though? I mean, like...
yeah, we're talking about a 380 horsepower Porsche. Like, my Volkswagen beats Carreras. I'm not kidding. I mean, maybe not the new ones, but I raced a Carrera before. I gapped it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an older Carrera, but
996 or something.
But I could throw flex fuel in the Golf, and I'll gap that Porsche, no problem. So it's like, yes, it's quadruple the weight, when you have the Cybertruck and the tow and all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's... I don't know where to go with this argument, right? Because, yes, it is really cool, regardless of what you may think of its looks. Electric cars do what electric cars will, which is smoke stuff.
Yeah.
Until they hit a certain range, and then they're just, dead refrigerators.
Yeah.
And now we got to bring in the diesel generator to charge it.
Or, not to mention, just like their top speed limiting is usually pretty conservative.
There's a give and take. I mean, there's a place for them. I mean, we're not going to turn this into an electric car podcast. I definitely want to get some people on here for that purpose. But
I'm not an expert at EVs. No,
I was going to say, I don't know where I heard it from, but they're quick, but they're not fast.
Yeah. Yes.
And so it's like, if you compare it to microwaving food, yeah, it's quick, but is it as good as having a homemade meal on a stove? No. So
it all depends. Like, I could see it as a daily. I wouldn't mind picking up, like, for example, Jess and Chaz just picked up, I think one of the two, I can't remember. They just picked up like the e-tron or whatever. Like the electric SUV.
Dig a Taycan. That's like,
yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but whatever, daily stuff. So let's see. We talked a little bit about ceramic coatings and stuff, and so ultimately you just kind of try to push people because you guys mostly do G-Technic then.
Yeah. And the reason why too is just the qualities of those coatings. Crystal Serum Light and Crystal Serum Ultra pretty much have the same qualities as far as like self-cleaning, UV protection.
Yeah.
It's going to protect you against like bugs and bird droppings and stuff like that really, really well. But they're incredibly hydrophobic. And that's what most people want from a ceramic coating. They just want it to be easy to clean. It's the most important thing for them. So
that's why, like, Underdog, I'm not sure if you saw that a couple years ago, it got really, really popular. But it's not a true ceramic coating. It's a Teflon coating.
It's Teflon. Yep.
And as we know now, Forever Chemicals with Teflon, it's horrible for you.
Yeah.
Like, we've never personally used it, but their ads, they had great hydrophobic properties. But you ask anybody, hey, what are you looking for out of ceramic coating? Oh, I want my paint to bead. It's like, okay, well, like, you're not focused as much on chemical resistance and all these other small shoots of a ceramic coating. But that's where, like, G-Technic kind of highlights everything. Whereas, like, Ceramic Pro,
keep just bashing Ceramic Pro.
I don't like Ceramic Pro.
Well, from what I'm hearing from Ceramic Pro, there's so many, like, even the coating that I had was like, I think I paid $800 for it. It was like a 3-year one.
Yep.
And
probably bronze or something.
And it was from some guys down in like Hastings area. I can't remember. And they use a different product now, but it already sounds 1,000 times better than what this Ceramic Pro thing that you're explaining to me, which I don't really know what it is.
Which we want to be clear, by the way, like, this isn't a Ceramic Pro bashing rally or whatever.
But they started all this, to be
it's
fair.
awareness.
It's just a user experience. No claims are being made here.
No. They deserve some credit, to be fair. I mean, they've been around for over a decade now. It made ceramic household. Everyone understands what it is today.
And it's not to say that the product doesn't work. It's just that I think people focus on the wrong things, maybe.
Right.
That's probably the thing.
Is their technology not changing like what you guys are saying?
No.
They haven't changed it once.
Right. So that's where they're not evolving with the science.
And anyone who's a Ceramic Pro certified installer, like an elite dealer or something right now, they're like, yes, it has. They just released, what is it?
Ion.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, great. But that's not what most people are getting. And I'm pretty sure that's a very expensive coating. Like a very expensive coating. So.
And that's another thing, too. I'm not going to name drop, but I know of shops that offer Ceramic Pro. They don't install it.
Because it doesn't hold up.
It doesn't
You
hold
want your
up.
customers to be happy at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the nature that we're in right now. I was talking with actually the Ceramic Pro rep a couple weeks ago, and he was like, hey, I'd love to get you back on board. And I'm like, not going to happen. Yeah. I was like, Ceramic Pro does not last in our environment.
Like Minnesota, you mean?
Yeah, Minnesota specifically. I don't know how it lasts on the like on the coastal regions or just warmer regions.
I think we should stop testing on the beautiful like California beaches, like
Right,
for
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a reason. Like for example, we had like a bunch of the Rivians. They came up here to Minnesota to test their shit. Why? Well, because when we met, first of all, like a large portion of the nation lives in these freezing ass climates because
Yeah.
we're lunatics.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the cars last. Like if for example, like you remember Teslas, their door handles would freeze.
Oh, yeah. There was some missing
This is
development
how we
there.
test things.
yeah.
For example, I can't remember which company it is. We probably shouldn't even say it if we do think of it. But there was like a PPF company. It was like a self-healing thing. And it worked great down in, again, San Fran. But you bring it up to Minnesota, it was like, it just fell apart. It just didn't do its job, which it seems like you have a story. Please share.
It's not even as much as a story as much as
Context.
like just context. So everybody thinks, oh, I want the self-healing properties. It works great in the summer.
Yeah.
But in the winter, if you're mistreating your PPF,
Me.
yeah, it's not going to self-heal.
Yeah.
Because you need that heat. And that's where like a certain company, I've already said enough about them, they came out with a self-healing PPF, like instant self-healing. They eventually said like, don't even buy this product. And I never even bought any of their PPF because I didn't stand behind it. But yeah, it's just, they were just like, yeah, don't.
Do they offer
don't
it
do
still or no?
Yeah, so it's Kavacha is what they offer.
There it goes.
Yeah. But it's not like it's bad film. I mean, it's
just-
still going to protect your paint. I don't know if they honestly offer the self-healing still. But no, that's the thing is like it's anything that's protecting your paint that you're putting on it, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it worked as a protection film. It just, the self-healing would not work as well in the northern states.
Yeah. And
Correct.
all self-healing for PPF, like, it's all great. It all works. But it has its limitations. Like, temperature is one of them.
Yep.
If it's not getting warm enough, it's not going to self-heal.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. If you demand it to self-heal, if you're running it through a slap and scratch, that self-healing will work for 4 or 6 months or so. But it only goes as far as that top layer on that PPF can hold up for. So if you're rubbing it literally away, it will leave at some point. It will be gone. It won't self-heal forever.
Right, yeah. It's not like a infinity heal. Yeah,
Right.
it's not forever there. That makes sense. I mean, you're limited by how much you have on there. Because like every time it heals, I'm sure there's some material going away.
Well, the material goes away before it heals. So it gets brought down or whatever.
Yeah, if
get
you
a
scratch
valley,
it, whatever's scratched is gone.
and
Yes.
it fills that in and kind of, So you get it. Yeah.
And even kind of stepping back too, as far as why we've switched products is the customer like aftercare. So when you get a ceramic coating like yourself, you like washing your own car. It's part of like a pride thing. And you can do that with other said companies. But G-Technic, they have every detailing product that you'll ever need on the back end.
Yeah.
To be fair, like we have our own products that we've developed, but like I said, they're for our environment. We've designed them for ceramic coating customers because we have a lot of maintenance clients.
To be fair, I don't like washing my own car. That's why I did the ceramic coating because it made it easier and faster for me to wash my
Yeah.
car.
That's what everyone wants.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For right now, I have this GT500, and I need something that makes brake dust just disappear into the air instead of collecting on my vehicle because that is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next segment.
Wait a sec. I want to touch on something real quick since we're
Yeah.
talking about PPF and Tesla was on the docket here for a minute. How do you guys feel about them offering PPF from the factory now?
It would cut into a lot of people's business. That's how I feel about it. And I feel like Tesla has got enough problems in their production line as far as fit and finish that they should probably just not worry about it and leave it to the
That's kind of how I feel.
I've already seen, not necessarily just from Tesla, but from like other companies offering similar things. It's just on a mass production scale, to make sure that all those details, like those PPFs or wraps or whatever, to be perfect, it's gonna be difficult because think of it this way, right? Joe Schmo working at the factory does 15 reps in a day. How many of those reps are fucked? Like, it's because like not everybody cares for their job. They're just there for that paycheck. They're not going to put out the best quality work. Whereas for you guys, it's your business, right? So I mean, I would be more so open to like, hey, let's ship 17 Teslas to City Wide PPF. They'll do it right. They'll warranty it.
Every dealership find their own accredited, trusted installer.
Well, that's what Ford's doing
like
with their wraps. They're
Back
going
to
to
Ford.
partner with. They're going to partner with shops, and then they're going to certify them and put it on their stuff. So you can
That's
order
the
it
way to
right
do it.
from the factory if you want it. Then they'll send from the dealer to the place. They'll put it on.
Instead of having
Once
to
again, Ford GOAT.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Even Rivian, they partnered up with Expel, so you could get your full R1T or R1S fully wrapped in PPF for, gosh, I think it was $4,500. I mean, it was dirt cheap.
It was really cheap.
I mean, it was way too cheap, honestly.
To be
there's
fair,
a
the
lot of
kits
labor that
weren't
goes into
great.
it.
Like the cutout. I say kits. Most people don't understand what that means. But the software that cuts the PPF out in the particular pattern for that car, they were not very good kits for those Rivians at the time. Not the cheap ones. You could extend it and get a better kit. But
Yeah, I was gonna say in like the drop down, it was like, is it the like Rivian like OEM or is it like the Rivian special deal?
Right.
And it was two completely different kits. But yeah, kind of bouncing back to Teslas, they already have such an issue with paint peeling on their bumpers. So like even every customer that we get in the shop that we're doing PPF on their bumper, we have them sign a waiver, just saying like, hey, if this peels like any point down the road, like we're not held liable. It's very common knowledge, or not common knowledge, but a lot of people do know about it. So that's where I get really nervous about Tesla pre-installing PPF.
Yeah.
Is like you already have so many issues with stuff peeling, that it's like if you get something on the factory or on the paint within 30 days, because they're not letting stuff properly
it would
peel
be
out
right off the
here.
factory line, off
Yeah.
to the PPF corner of the warehouse of the Gigafactory.
But yeah, it's like you get something on there so fast that even like body shops. So if you ever get anything repainted, you have to wait at least 30 days to get PPF applied. Do most body shops, like if you're going through that body shop to get it repaired, do they follow that? No, because they just want to get their check and get out. So whenever customers hit us up and they're like, hey, I had this repainted, I'd love to get PPF on it, start fresh. We're like, yeah, you got to wait 30 to 45 days. And they're like, but it's fresh paint. And it's like, yeah,
Park it.
Yeah, park it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just had mine painted or dipped or whatever you want to call it, and it was he was like, for 6 weeks it needs to sit, and he's like, leave it in the sun as much as you can, let that harden on there.
Yeah, that's something you see all the time. Like I've ripped paint with vinyl before, and one time I found out that it was pretty freshly painted.
Yeah.
Not your fault.
Right. You know, it's like, well, there's just so much that goes into that, right? And like you said, like I highly, highly doubt that Tesla's just going to let their inventory sit for 30 days.
Right.
And then it'll be like, okay, time to PPF it. Like I am so...
That backlog would be just horrendous.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to churn cars out. Now, maybe like if they went to their dealerships or lack thereof, then they could do it. Then sure, makes sense. But I could see that being a problem. But what was it about their paint? Was it just too thin, or what was it?
It's a whole onslaught of things.
Yeah, thin, inconsistent. Like we have a Model Y in our shop right now.
Yeah.
And I haven't even pointed it out to you because I've just been doing the PPF on it. But on the passenger side front door, there's it's like the size of a dime of just a clump of paint that was like collected on the tip of the sprayer and got shot into the paint. And I mean, we can't do anything about it. It's way too big. It's not like a paint nib where we can level it down and make it look good. It's honestly a disaster.
Yeah. I've seen it thin. I've seen it in places where I don't know how much clear coat was on it, but there wasn't enough base coat to cover the primer underneath it. Fish eyes, nibs.
And we honestly haven't had a Tesla in quite a while. And so
They dropped off for a little while.
Yeah. And
People are getting smarter.
Maybe, I don't know. Somebody's doing some good Tesla marketing in the metro. I don't.
wonder who that is. But yeah, so we finally got one in, and we're looking at the condition of the paint, and just all over the whole vehicle. I mean, paint nibs, fish eyes, solvent pop, which is like really, really small little bubbles that pop on the surface, and it looks kind of weird.
Basically, if you paint too fast, too thick, too quick.
And yeah, no, it's just their paint is just keeps going downhill. Like it was bad when they started. I feel like it got better, but now it's like going really poorly again.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever have to
We'll
wet
see.
sand?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a car in our shop right now. The one that he was mentioning got repainted, that dark black metallic-y color that was hard to match. I did a full texture to lead on. So wet sanded the whole thing and buffed it back up. So yeah.
What is it liability like? Like, what do you guys? It's like, because that'd be my first concern. I would not want to get into detailing because I don't want to deal with liability. Like, is this something that's at the forefront of your mind, or how's that work?
Absolutely, yeah. So we kind of have a mentality on especially original paint. Don't chase scratches, chase finish. So we're removing 60 to 70% of all of the scratches on the vehicle, all the light ones, and then we're minimizing the really deep ones. And then we're just chasing the gloss. Something that a lot of paint correction specialists don't necessarily do is make sure that finish is 100% perfect, down to taking your glasses off and holding a paint light and it looks like a mirror. So you never want to dig too deep. You always want to leave more material than you want to, basically,
Longevity.
You want to think about longevity in the long run. So yeah. And
that's even another thought too, is if you're going through a really extensive paint correction, we see what happens to cars in like southern states with sun and clear coat failure. And so that's kind of even with paint correction. We don't see as much clear coat failure up here, but if you're minimizing that, and so every time you buff it, you're taking away more and more material. People think you're just like blending it across. It's the same as sandpaper, just on a way smaller scale. Where the more aggressive it is, the more you're taking away, and then you're going down to a polish and you're getting it as smooth as possible. So anytime that somebody wants to do like a concourse level correction, we always recommend, and we honestly don't really even sell it without a ceramic coating. No. So that we, at least that way, we're adding a little bit of a barrier of protection back to it.
So basically some of that liability falls back on the customer. It's like, we're going to do this for you, but you need to say, hey, I'm going to take care of this car and it's not going to need a buff for another 5-10 years, because we can't buff it once a year. You know what I'm saying? You'll go through it. So if you want us to dig out every single scratch, like, it's kind of on you to take care of it from there, knowing that we can't do that time and time again. It's like a one-time sort of deal. Realistically, you can get more out of it than that. And
that's what even happened with that Grand National. I mean, the paint, looking at it with the paint light, like, it was already thin. A couple spots have already been resprayed, and we were a little bit, not necessarily nervous. Like any classic car, we kind of go into it a little bit hesitant, and we just kind of tiptoe. So it's not even necessarily like a full correction. It's more of an enhancement. Yeah. But we already knew how thin the paint was. Like, there was already burns in a couple spots. So we were like, we'll glaze it, prep it, coat it, call it good. Yeah. And we told him, I was like, this is never going to be able to get another correction.
Not a full correction. Light polish, sure. But yeah.
And he brought it back to us. And we were like, can't do anything. And there's a shop that's further north from us that he ended up bringing it to. I don't know how it turned out.
Is it not going there until spring? I thought
it was September.
It was September? Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Can you add material in? Like, I've seen Jen use a paint pen or something like that. Can you kind of cover a scratch that way? Then when you buff it into it, it's not as noticeable anyway.
Yeah,
just something
if you've
kind of
got
close.
a scratch that's all the way through the clear coat, you can put clear on it. If you got a scratch that's all the way through the base coat, you can put base coat on it.
But like silver, good luck.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
The way that the flop of the flake is huge. Like solid colors, they're totally good. You can build it up, wet sand it down, and you can almost make it go away. Whereas with heavy flakes, you can make them disappear. We call it like the 6 foot rule, where you take 6 feet back and it looks good enough to the eye, but you get up close and you can see where it is.
Yeah, you're always gonna be able to see that brush stroke, even if you level it fully down. Wet sand.
You don't just have like a bunch of Sharpies on hand then to just scribble them in. And
I mean, no, yeah. I mean, to be fair, we have a lot of touch-up paint because over the last 2 years of doing touch-up on all of our customers, and thankfully having a body shop nearby that he's a paint geek and is willing to make perfect matches for us.
Whose shop is that?
It's actually a place called Neil's Auto Body. We're name dropping them. Yeah, they're doing. I mean, they do decent work. They're really honest guys, relatively low prices.
I'm just curious because I have yet to find anybody that's proud to support a paint and body shop.
It's really tough, and like even if if you're talking, you've got a $60,000-$70,000 car, I don't have anywhere to recommend you to. But if you need a bumper resprayed or something like that, like he'll take care of you.
And where are you guys at again?
Coon Rapids.
Coon Rapids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right on the boulevard.
I might have been to Neil's before.
You may have. Little red shop, tiny little shop with a red band.
I feel like he bought some Mustang parts off me. I think some Fox body stuff.
Probably. He's a Street Machines guy. Yeah,
I think I've been out to his place before.
Yeah.
It's hard to find those guys that'll do that stuff too, and not just I will slap bumpers on Ford Escapes all day long and respray them for insurance work, but to get them to do that little stuff is such a pain.
I'll shout out their car club too, is the Cold Steel Cruisers, if you know.
Okay.
Yeah, they did the Coon Rapids cruise during COVID. Yeah,
rest in peace.
Yeah, so those are some good times. Too bad it fell apart. But yeah, we are coming. We're well past 2 hours now, by the way. So time flies, but I do want to talk a little bit more about some of the other products you brought, because you got a big beautiful box. I just want to see what else you guys got in there, and for those that have made it this far, I'm sure they're curious.
Yeah. So we got a glass cleaner called Berry Clean.
All right. I'll stick with Windex. No.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we just rebottle it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember you talking about you want to make it no streak. Like that's huge for you, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And with any glass cleaner, I mean, for best results, you're going to do a two towel method. You're going to have a wet towel, dry towel. That specific glass cleaner, we could dummy it down a little bit, but we like the added protectant.
Yeah.
So each cleaning afterwards, it becomes easier. So it's not ceramic coating by any means, but there's polymers that are in there. Yeah. We got Melon Cleanse, and that is a interior cleaner. For fabrics, plastics, it's kind of all around all purpose. Yeah. I don't love all purpose cleaners per se, but it kind of is one.
You got to give the people what they want. It's amazing. I mean, it's safe on open pore leather. It's safe on Alcantara. It's safe on vinyl.
It's a tough thing because you want that all-purpose aspect, you know, because it's nice and easy to use. But again, it's not as specific, or it's not as good as it could possibly be. But you need to be dummy-proof and needs to be used on everything. So
people want something that can be used on everything, and it really is a good product. It's got UV blockers in it and stuff like that too. It's good stuff. Yep.
And then we got Fresh and Dressed, and so this is an interior detailer, not a cleaner, not to be mistaken. So that does have a little bit of dressing in it. It's more of a satin shine.
So this would be like going way back to old school days, like an Armor All type thing, right?
Yeah, but way less shine.
Not quite as glossy. Yeah, it doesn't leave like a layer behind. But yeah, you use it in the same place. It's a more traditional interior detail spray that you're using on like your dash and your seats and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Got Creamsicle, and that's just
this one smells good.
Yeah, it's a pH neutral soap.
Yeah.
More things to come, but
will it foam? Can you put it in a foam?
Foamy. Yeah. It's one of those solutions where we wanted to keep it pretty simple. We wanted to allow people to use it in a bucket and in a foam cannon, so it's got like a really thick viscosity, which can be kind of a pain to pour out sometimes. So like David said, more things coming soon. But it's good. I mean, you can put it in a foam cannon. It smells. It puts thick mats of foam down on wherever you point that bad boy, and it's good stuff. Safe on ceramic coatings and all that good stuff.
And then we got Purple Shine, and that's more of our regular ceramic detailer, so that's really good for just like quick touch-ups. So if you wash your car, you go to a show, you end up with a couple water drops, or a little bit of dust. Like, that's a great product.
This is how you're going to sell stuff to Harris. You just have to make sure it smells good.
It's a scratch and sniff.
Yeah, we encourage people to smell our products. I mean, do you necessarily need to open the bottle and stick your nose in it? No, but you're going to smell it when you use it, and that's the point. Like, we want to give people those good vibes. So
we wanted something that's like extremely user-friendly, but is also a really good user experience. Which a lot of products, I mean, it's one or the other. Either it works really well, doesn't smell good, or it smells really good and doesn't work.
We're blending the lines between a consumer product and a professional product. You could use our entire line in your detail shop and not use anything else, and you'd be just fine. But a lot of the shops that do that, they take it a little too seriously. So we wanted to.
So that one's Loonatek. That is our.
Don't smell that one.
No, don't smell.
Oh, I've done it before.
That's the iron reactive wheel cleaner. It has a higher viscosity for wheels. It's still safe to use on paint.
Yeah.
The only difference is that, like I said, it's an additive for a higher viscosity, so it has better cling time.
Yep.
This will help me get the brake dust off my wheels.
That's the stuff for your wheels,
right.
yeah. And it's actually a lot safer than a lot of different, like just like iron decons, because of that clinging agent slows down the chemical reaction a little bit. So it's safer if you get some on some trim, or you don't have to worry about it burning your tires or anything like that. Like you can use it on your entire car.
I want to burn my own tires. I don't need any help.
So then with that, does this also change color too?
It does. It'll turn purple as it reacts with like heavy metal or iron particles. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then, last but not least, Skeeter Deleter.
I love the name of this one.
By far one of our favorite products.
Yeah. We need it up here in Minnesota, you know.
Yeah.
We get plastered.
It melts bugs.
After a rally? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is... So you guys are... First of all, there's some things that we can't talk about on the podcast, like things that are in development that I'm very, very excited for, that are perfect for ralliers. But this bug remover, first of all, I've been on so many rallies. I mean... I'll be the judge of this one. I mean, I let the bugs bake on there for a year, dude.
Yeah.
Like, okay, listen, I am a detailer's worst nightmare. Like, so if you need someone for R&D, I'm your boy. Which I have a interesting R&D thing coming up actually. With I'll talk about it off air, which is very exciting. But nonetheless, Skeeter Deleter, dude.
It's good stuff. It's a formula. It's a concentrated formula too. You can water it down up to 8 parts water. So it can be strong. It can melt bugs. It can melt worms and bird droppings and tree sap and tar even. Or you can make it really gentle and use it like as an everyday sort of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, after a rally, my car looks like it has a bra on it. So,
yeah.
So and that's one thing that I do want to touch base on is that you can dilute it up to 8 parts water. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing with that is going back to like the Jaguar and the Mercedes paint. Yeah. They're or not paint, but they're plastics. They're extremely sensitive. So if you do have a vehicle like that, like make sure you do dilute it. I'm not saying that anything's gonna happen right away, but don't just like spray it on there, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then either put foam on it or rinse it. It's definitely with more sensitive plastics. But spray it on, foam it, let it sit, agitate, and then rinse.
Yeah, it's not a product that you want to let dry in direct sun. Like you need to make sure it's not something you just let work by itself. Like you work it and get it off the surface pretty much.
Yeah, I'm the reason people have warning labels.
Yeah, which there are a fair amount on that.
I was checking for legal purposes. Yeah, it will definitely melt my ex. Okay, perfect.
So, do you guys sell this stuff? Is it exclusively out of your shop? Can I get on Amazon? Do you got a website?
Loonatek.com is officially live as of today, or 3 days ago for people that are watching this now. Yep.
And that's spelled LOONATEK.com.
That's
okay.
Right. That's the one.
Perfect. And yeah, I'm gonna be working with you guys on some of those extra things too. We've talked about this a few weeks ago, David. Just about getting this out to the masses, man, because there's, especially with TikTok, for fucking TikTok, there's so much of this rebranded white label stuff going out there. So it's super refreshing to have people that, put the effort into developing your own brand. And of course, the big companies, they're also doing it. They have, dozens of scientists, hundreds of scientists working on this. But again, you guys are in that space of wanting to develop something new that is good for the average Joe, because at the end of the day, you guys are boots on the ground working on this stuff. Yep. So I'm very excited to see where this goes, especially, as more and more iterations come through. So yeah, we'll get this sucker out to the masses. No more.
And you're keeping our Midwest client climate in consideration for this.
Yeah, from beginning to start, basically. I mean, I can't tell you how many products we went through that did not perform on humid days where it was misty. I mean, we would use some of these products on days where we had the garage doors open and there's rolling fog coming through because we wanted to make sure that they worked, and a lot of them don't, and we have to make adjustments to make sure that they work in our environment.
So when you say they don't work, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means that the user experience is off. It doesn't necessarily mean, for instance, some of the earlier versions of Aquabead. It doesn't mean that it didn't leave protection when you used it. It just meant that it streaked. I mean, you could wipe it and wipe it and wipe it and wipe it, and it would streak. And, and you don't want that.
That reminded me of something.
Which, I mean, that early rendition probably would have worked just fine in a place like SoCal, or just fine in a place like Atlanta where the temperature's high enough that the dew point's low. But the higher that dew point gets, which we have high dew points here in Minnesota all the time, even if our relative humidity is not that high, it's just like the temperature that we have combined with our humidity, products struggle, ceramic coatings struggle. And so, I mean, yeah, we just made sure that everything worked. We built it all, you know, from the ground up, basically.
Okay. Is that everything out of your little box that you brought?
That's all
right
of
now.
them right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, I don't like supporting people that I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. I love supporting people that I genuinely believe in. I don't care to, you know, do a BS half support or whatever. So actually, as we're slowly wrapping up here, I think you guys also created a code for listeners to use, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Monoxide.
Is it actually usable? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
That it is.
Is it Monoxide 15?
No, just monoxide.
Monoxide. Easy.
So it's just code Monoxide for 15% off, and then you guys will be fulfilling orders on Monday. So
yeah, on Sunday probably. Too.
like I said, man, if a lot of the listeners here or whatever, or you know, from highlights or whatever, I told David I'll be in. You bring me up there, I'll pour some freaking bottles, man.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I might mix up the labels, but we'll see what happens.
Hopefully not.
They're color coordinated, so it's pretty easy.
And I already peeled the label off. It doesn't say chemical guys underneath. So we're good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a good one. On that note, Dan, time for the usual three.
Uh-oh.
All right. So I'm not going to say this twice. I'm going to say it to both you guys.
Yeah.
All right. You got to pick 3 cars.
Yeah.
You have an unlimited budget. Only your imagination can hold you back. Daily, show car, and track car.
This is such a tough one.
What a dramatic pause.
You know how much anxiety we had
somebody,
talking about
the
this?
apple juice is I got brain fog.
That apple juice was 8 parts water.
I think I was drinking the fresh dressed.
So I'll start.
Yeah, thank God.
I'm a huge Porsche fan. I don't know necessarily a lot about cars. I love working on cars. It's just more the craft that I enjoy. With that said, I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Porsche fan. So I mean, I could go on and on and on. But if I were to like stick within one realm, for a daily, I would probably do like a GT3. Just kind of keep it simple, or a Taycan.
Like a club or like a normal one? Like you want the big wing and the arrow and everything, or just
the regular GT3.
All right.
If I had to go like track car, either a 3RS or a 2RS. Or no, sorry, actually it's was it show car first? I would do like a RWB or a Singer. I think that'd be really cool. Just more of something.
For a show car, we got to choose one today.
Yeah.
Pick one. RWB or Singer, bro. Singer, easy.
Singer.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's what I've heard. I think that's like the higher quality of the bunch.
Yeah, or a roof. That would
roof.
Or yeah, rough.
Who knows?
Rough.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Rough.
Well, that Singer that we saw at SEMA was beautiful.
Yeah.
The craftsmanship on those is unbelievable.
Okay, so Singer for the show car. The daily, we locked in a GT3. So now we're down to track car.
Probably just GT2.
RS.
Yeah. RS.
Kill mode.
That's awesome. And that's the thing too, is like I said, I don't know necessarily a whole lot about the cars specifically. I like the idea.
He doesn't give himself enough credit. He's been around cars his whole life. His dad did resto mods in the 90s and stuff like that. Like you've been.
My first car that I ever did Bondo work on was when I was like 3 months old.
Yeah.
I've been around cars. Yeah, literally my whole life. So
that sounds like a cool story. Next episode.
Yeah.
Coming up. Let me see.
We'll jump back more into my history.
It's a long one so far, isn't it?
This might be second longest ever, I think.
Damn.
But we ain't done yet, boys.
Yeah.
What's it called? Okay, so now your daily track car, show car, Mr. Braxton.
So
PhD
here's
of
the thing.
polymers.
For me, I wish, dude. I need to go back. No, I'm just playing. Like if I had unlimited money, bro, I'd be Batman. Are you kidding? Like I'd go crazy. Like it's so hard to limit it down. It's kind of painful actually. But if we're going ultimate, like V8 Gemera for daily, right? All-wheel drive, hybrid. You drive to work in EV mode. Is that too crazy?
No, you're good.
No?
You're the fourth person that said Koenigsegg, so you're
Really?
doing right.
For daily?
Yeah, second for daily, I think.
That's pretty cool. All right, right on.
Okay, so V8 Gemera for daily.
Yeah, track car. I want to go like vintage, but then like I have competitive spirit, so I'd actually want to be fast. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like going with David's vibe, like a 996 GT3, like club car or something like that, like an actual race car. That'd be sweet. And show car, I don't know. That I would go vintage. I'd do like a Mercedes, like a 190E, like Evo, you know, with the big wing and the Cosworth motor.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like that.
Cool.
I approve.
All right. Right on.
Yeah. On that note, let's start with you guys. Where can people find you?
Yeah, citywideppf.com for our detailing, and it's more of a paint protection business is honestly kind of how we do it. But yeah, citywideppf.com, a little bit of a redesign coming up here for our website.
Yeah.
And then obviously for the product line, Loonatek.com. Hopefully we'll see where the summer takes us, because we're hoping to jump into quite a few car meets and really kind of introduce ourselves to the car community again, because we've been pretty MIA and just kind of honing in on our craft for the last few years.
It's a discussion we had at length, was to just kind of be like, all right, do we jump into the car community more? Because like, again, like Minnesota's like the smallest big city out there, so we're very well connected. So it's like, obviously you want to take care of everybody. So I think that's very fair you did it that way. Before I forget, I really wanted to ask this question like 4 times during this episode. So you mentioned a lot about like, and then we'll wrap up, I promise. You mentioned a lot about like ceramic like windshields, like, you know, not like, you know, beating off the rain and all that stuff. Is that something you would suggest for the winters?
Absolutely. Okay. That's one of the most important things that you can do. I don't know of anyone that's used to using even a product like Rain-X or something like that can hop in somebody else's car that does not have a sealed or coated windshield and not feel like they're going to die. Like, is your windshield coated or sealed? Do you have Rain-X on it or anything? Either one of you?
I've used Rain-X before, and it's night and day
bare
difference.
minimum. I mean, it makes a night and
Yep.
it's safety. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. Like, we do windshields, by the way, like $85. You need your windshield coated, bring it on in. We'll take care of you. Yeah.
So that said, then, so winter as well, it's just perfect for that.
Perfect. Yeah, easier to clear ice and snow off. Everything.
Okay. Okay.
You can go all summer long and never hit that windshield wiper thing. And once winter hits, you're on it 4 or 5 times in one drive at minimum.
And to be clear, like
you should be.
Yeah. Windshield coatings aren't like magic. Just like everything else we've talked about today, it has its limitations. Window coatings last on like side windows and rear windshields. They can last years. On windshields, they last like it's a really good windshield coating if it lasts a year. So this would be the perfect time to do it right before winter when it freaking matters, and then do it once a year, once every other year. So
what about like maintenance wise? Like for example, we talked about like you could use Aquabead in conjunction with whatever your ceramic or whatever. Would you recommend? What would you recommend to put on your windshield then?
Same deal. We use Aquabead to clean windows sometimes. Okay. Especially on the exterior because it's such a great sealant and it takes the edge off of that ceramic coating. Yeah. Yeah,
I really wanted to plug that because like that's a problem that I deal with, right? Because like especially in freaking winter, if the roads are a little bit melty, but then they're a little salty, then it's just it's everything. So
it's a mess on your windshield.
Yeah, that one actually matters to me. The fact that the car's gray and not white outside, not an issue, non-starter for me. It's a daily. But that one, like visibility, when I can't see, yeah. I have tinted windows. It's already a fucking tragedy.
Well, I have mine. I'm on the road all the time, so for work, I'm traveling all over the place. I've had my washer things freeze up on me. It's happened several times, and it's stop at a gas station. Get a Gatorade bottle, one of those squirter tops or something like this, and I fill it either with water or whatever, and I'll stick my hand out the windshield and squirt it on there and hit it with it. So I've used things like Rain-X, which helps a lot in that situation.
Yeah. Hack, by the way, for the best antifreeze you can put in your washer fluid. It's super not kosher.
Is it like baby blood or something?
No, it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
RV Marine antifreeze.
Sorry, what?
RV and Marine antifreeze. It's like a glycerin alcohol compound or something like that. I mean, it's like...
I buy it by cases. I have campers and boats and things like that.
Yeah. Throw it in your washer fluid. Yeah. It's a little streaky, but man, it melts ice. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so fun fact, I'm literally empty right now.
Sometimes it's good to mix it with some normal washer fluids. I wouldn't just go.
I wouldn't go straight up. Yes, I would agree.
Great, because I literally I was about to tell Dan because like I told him to grab some waters at the gas station. I almost asked him to give me some washer fluid on the way here.
That's funny.
I'm just his assistant at this point, I'm dropping off his dry cleaning, things like that.
Oh shit,
it's okay. On that note, so you guys are just gonna take this together, find you at Loonatek.com,
Yeah.
CityWidePPF.com.
Same with on Instagram. Both Loonatek and City Wide.
Okay.
That's us.
Yep. And
Perfect.
if it does blow up, please be patient, 'cause it's literally just the two of us.
Yeah.
And we're learning
Both
everything.
operations.
Like, we know the product side, we know the detailing side, but we don't know like the e-commerce side. So yeah, just kind of be patient.
We'll figure that
Yeah.
out. It's a team effort.
I see
got
you
it.
guys
Exactly.
making more effort. You've been commenting on my Gunna Garage stuff, and I'm like, who's City Wide? That's Harris, but yeah, no, that's cool. I like what you guys are doing, man.
Thank
It's
you.
Appreciate
great.
it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Gunna Garage, where can people find you, Dan?
Gunna Garage with 2 N's. Yeah, come check us out. We'll try and do some cool stuff. We're in a weird transition right now. Fall's really busy for me, so it's pretty ghost town on content there, but
Yep.
we'll get back at it.
Instagram, TikTok, community. I think that's everything.
Yep.
And then that brings you all to me. You're on the Monoxide Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Always a pleasure having guests on talking about cool stuff. At some point, hopefully this episode, I'll have a legit ad in the middle of the episode for Raise a Hood, because these end of episode ads are always awkward. But please be sure to check out raiseahood.com. If your Hoopty Daily is not doing what it should be doing, such as mine, go ahead, diagnose it using the Raise a Hood AI. It's still a work in progress, of course, as with any startup, but it can at least point you in the right direction for some awesome conversations. And at the very least, I'll get these mixed up, but I have 2 different codes on my profile. One is for free 1-month subscription of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Something on Raise a Hood. It's okay. I'll double check later. But you can also get 15% off on a telemechanic call. So basically, as we all know with telehealth, hey, something's on my nipple or whatever. You can get a health call. That is not endorsed, by the way. This is not an official ad. Point being, if you have something wrong with you, you go see a doctor online sometimes. The same thing applies here. You can get a telemechanic call, like a 15-minute call, be like, okay, why is this POS squeaking? Great conversation to be had with your telemechanic. So I think that one's Monoxide 15. Again, on my Instagram profile. Just give it a shout. Give it a check it out. Other than that, follow me on Community. Exciting stuff on there. Coming on. Download the Community app. Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything, guys.
Yeah. Next time we'll touch base on community.
Yeah. We'll touch base.
You guys, we need to have you back for sure. This has been great.
Cool.
No,
I've had a blast.
Yeah, for S's and G's, let's give it again. Yeah, I think we're just a few minutes short of the longest episode ever, which was Michael Peterson. I think episode 31.
Shit.
But again, that's like a lot of nerding out. So like we did a lot of like scientific stuff that you guys know more about than we do. So I thought that was really neat.
We've had some laughs. We've had some drinks. We've had
Apple juice.
We've huffed many things. Thank you for listening to the Monoxide Podcast. David, Braxton, thank you guys for joining us. Let's go get some tacos or something. Dan, thanks for existing, and see y'all next time.